intelligence. It's like
interesting.
yeah, and
We might be so much sophisticated than we realize. It could be like we've been using some tools that go under AI without knowing it. It would be nice to identify them, recognize that. All right. So much looking forward to learning about that from you. We're starting exactly in 5 minutes. And here is Amira Mohsen, my co-moderator, one of the team of 4. So she's gonna introduce you. If you wish to share screen, test, do anything, okay, the floor is yours. We're, by the way,
it's my
we're now, yeah, just so you know, we're live.
Actually, I'm just, it's like, when you said virtual reality, I was like, no.
No, that was not it. Okay, that's not
about today.
Yeah, I have a different...
I'd love to talk about virtual reality, and I interviewed Michael McDonald. He's a British teacher, and he's actually a leader in educators in VR. And he teaches on AltSpace VR, on Engage VR, and also on Mozilla Hub. It was a very nice workshop, and we enjoyed it a lot. I love virtual reality, and I hope Heike is here today. I love Second Life. I love flying on Second Life.
Well, I tried, Amani, I tried Second Life. I was not very successful, and it seems like I'm not the only one. Ayat Al-Tawil has a similar impression about it. I'm not sure. Is Ayat here yet? I'm not sure. But she wasn't very fond of the experience either.
Try AltSpace. AltSpace. It's really cool. Really cool. And it's much easier than Second Life. And also attend Laurel Vovassen's workshops. She's the co-founder of Educators in VR. She's so nice. And they do lots of workshops on also on AltSpace. They do lots of workshops on building worlds and on how to use AltSpace. It's really fun, and it's like social media, but you can actually go to AltSpace on your desktop, or you can use Oculus or any of those headsets. And actually, like Second Life, it gives you a walkthrough. Those how you can walk, how you can touch stuff, and stuff like that. So it's really cool.
Well, my experience was I went into Second Life, the very old traditional one in 2010, and all I could do is jump around, nothing more, just jumping all the time. And I couldn't even buy clothes that would be like nice and I would say like I couldn't dress up. It was that very color. And they told me stuff about, you earn points by doing this and that, and you can buy for free. I don't know. I mean, they just actually told me so many things that I couldn't apply. And I thought, well, no, it's not for me.
Yeah. No, it's for everyone, but it's okay. You can just watch tutorials on YouTube, and you will find it easy. It's not that difficult. Heike Philip has her Evo sessions on virtual reality and immersive worlds. It's amazing. She interviewed all those people, Science Space, all those websites. So just choose one, focus on it, and there's also co-spaces. It's but that's also, you can design stuff for the students. You can design virtual worlds for the students. Yeah,
well, we were flabbergasted, remember, in Heike's session when we had a breakout room activity. We were, okay, and someone mentioned, okay, like lecturing mode and whatever you are selling doesn't work in a class based on lecturing, okay? And all of a sudden you bombarded us with 101 different techniques where we could use. And it was like, really?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
remember that
my kids
moment.
always say that I'm the one who's behind the remote learning. And they said, okay, can you now pray to God to let us go back to school? Because I want the e-learning so much.
Okay,
And
yeah.
they're trying to make this conspiracy theory that I'm the one who's behind the
You
remote
think,
learning
oh
because I
my,
wanted it so much.
oh my.
I
Okay,
wanted to rest. Honestly, I was like going everywhere and I wanted to rest and I wanted to do everything online. So he said, okay, can you pray God now?
okay. So I think it's about time to get
Yeah.
started. And if you wish, yeah, to introduce, okay, Amira, you can go ahead.
Right. Well, hi, Dr. Amani. It's my
I'm
pleasure
not
to
a
introduce
doctor.
you today. Amani El Khayat is talking to us today about why it's important to transform your classroom with artificial intelligence tools for language learning. Now, a bit about a background about Amani. Amani El Khayat is a doctoral fellow in the Instructional Technology and Media program at Teachers College, Columbia University. She is also the founder and chair of the Technology Enhanced Language Learning SIG in NYS TESOL, New York. She is a Udemy instructor and the CEO of Speak It. She earned her first master's degree in TEFL from the American University in Cairo and her second MA degree in instructional technology and media from TC Columbia University. She has more than 20 years of teaching experience in Egypt, KSA, and the US. Welcome, very impressive resume, Amani, and the floor is all yours. I have a lot to comment on this, but after your talk. So I'm looking forward to your talk.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone, and thank you for having me today. And I'm so excited to have been invited by the Hannah and all the team and Learning Together team. And artificial intelligence has always been my passion, especially designing chatbots for language learning. And also, one of my research interests is interactive fiction, and it's also we're gonna see, look at some of the tools that relates to interactive fiction, and that are also created by artificial intelligence. But I'd love to start with this prophecy. It's called Amun's prophecy, and actually it was the very first thing that Dr. Khalid Al-Ghamri started with, and also MacArthur in a research paper. They started with talking about a very old and actually universal theme that draws a line between the dystopia or the dystopian idea and the utopian idea of any invention, the opponents and proponents of any invention. So it was a conversation between the god of writing, science, and everything that you can imagine. His name is Thoth, and also Amun, who was the god of all the Egyptians in ancient Egypt. And Thoth has had invented writing at that time, and he was so excited. And then he came to Amun, and then he said that he wanted to make writing accessible to all ancient Egyptians. But then Amun warned, he was afraid of this invention, and he warned him that they will have lack of focus because they will not rely on their memory, because the culture before that, it was an oral culture. So everybody would memorize the stories and even the facial expressions, and they were in every oral culture, people were like storytellers. So they will memorize a story from generation to another, and then they retell it. And that was before the invention of writing. And so Amun was warning Thoth that Egyptians will rely on their memory, and instead they will depend more on symbols. It will not lead them to the truth, but something that bears resemblance to the truth. They will read much and learn less. This invention will be in the hands of the intellectuals and the half-wits, and you can relate to technology and artificial intelligence. And their voices will be louder and annoying, and they will not be wise. They will appear as wise. And actually, you can relate to what we have now as deepfake fake news, and all those conspiracy theories that are actually created by some artificial intelligence engines like GPT-3, for example. If you follow the news and know some of those stories about how you can also create, you can feed actually the system with some conspiracy theories, and they can create or make up their own stories. So before embarking on our journey, I'd like you to go to Mentimeter. Oops. Go to menti.com and use this code 8041029. And I'd like you to answer this question.
Could you type, please, the code in the chat room?
I'm not sure if I can. So you can't see, okay.
Can you say it again?
Hold on. Where is the? Oh, where is the chat room?
There is a chat box.
Okay.
Okay, just a second.
I sent it. So 8041029. So we have Duolingo, eReader, Siri, and Grammarly. So which one of these are AI tools? Maybe all of them. Has anyone used eReader? Okay, I don't see how many people are. I didn't enable it. Okay.
They can press 1 in the chat box. Anyone who actually used the tool again is eReader.
No. It's Menti. It's menti.com. And then you go there and then you use the code, you put the code 8041029. eReader is one of the choices. So we have Duolingo, eReader, Siri, Grammarly.
I answered.
Okay, and we have also another person who's answered. I think we have 18 people, so this means that we still have more people to go. I'm gonna wait for 1 minute or more, okay.
So to actually recap on what you said, you have a list of tools, all right?
Yes.
Some of which, Duolingo, eRater, and a couple more. And all you need is us here to say either like we used one or all of them, all right?
Not which one do you think, here's the question, which of these are AI tools? Which of these are AI tools?
Sorry.
It's okay. Which of these are AI tools? Not which one of them do you use. Which of these do you think are AI tools?
Because I chose the one I used. I think I'll have...
No. It's okay. I was trying to reduce the cognitive load by reducing the question, like the elements in the question, but the question says, which of these are AI tools? Okay, so it's all of them. Okay, Grammarly is an artificial intelligence app. Siri is an artificial intelligence. eReader uses natural language processing based on a corpus, and most apps that use that detects grammar, spelling, and also problems based on a corpus. These are natural language processing tools, and also Duolingo uses. It's not it's adaptive, and also I think it used to use a chatbot. I'm not sure if it still uses it, but also it's AI. So let me F5. Okay, so whenever we talk about artificial intelligence, we have to talk about the Turing test. And the Turing test, so Alan Turing is a British computer scientist who came up with this idea that's called the Turing test. So he thinks that computers can be judged as intelligent. So in this experiment, he put a judge, a human, it's like a human judge and a human respondent or human questioner and a human respondent and a computer respondent, like, you know, a chatbot. And then he started asking the human respondent questions and the computer respondent questions. And based on their responses, of course, each one of them were put in a room. Nobody knows who is there. Is it a human? Is it a computer? And then the judge has to decide which one was a human and which one was a computer respondent. And this is translated now into the Loebner Prize. We're going to talk about the Loebner Prize. I'm going to give you an example. And so artificial intelligence has started with cognitive theorists. So they considered that the most important factor in learning second language, of course, artificial intelligence is in health, is in education, everywhere, but I'm talking about L2. It's when ESL students pay attention to their errors, okay? And so artificial intelligence, natural language processing, machine learning, they help understand natural languages. And of course, that's through one of the things which is corpora. If you took corpus linguistics, corpora is one of the tools that we use to upload to like when coding, for example, looking for certain patterns and stuff like that. And also speech recognition and speech synthesis are ones of the tools that actually help second language learners learn and better their learning. So one of the things, I'm not sure whether you heard of it or not, but I published it in a paper 3 years ago. It's Tutor Mike. And Tutor Mike is an ESL robot that was designed by Dr. Ron Chang. And basically, Tutor Mike is a chatbot. So it's not the time today to show you how chatbots are created, but you say hi and then how are things? And let's say, for example, what is an adjective? For example, oh, I have to press enter. And an adjective modifies a noun or a pronoun. I can say, can you give me an example? If you say you are a smart robot, smart is an adjective modifying the noun robot, okay? So Tutor Mike is a chatbot. It's not a real person. You might think that he's a real person, but actually all responses are based on a corpus of language. Some people call it API. So it goes back, it searches for the intents and entities that relates to adjectives, for example, that relates to example. So it's example and adjective. So the chatbot has to search for these entities, and then it comes up with an answer. So it's actually programmed. It's not magic. Okay, and Tutor Mike won the second place in the International Loebner Prize. It's like a contest similar to the Turing test, and in which the judges decides whether whether the computer displays intelligence like natural intelligence or not. There's also Replica. So Replica is also a chatbot, and it's really cool. You chat with it, and there were a lot of research papers on Replica and how it helped students learn grammar and also some aspects of the language. We also have IBM Watson Assistant. So IBM Watson Conversational Assistant is actually, it's a tool where you can create your own chatbot. And IBM Watson actually integrates many things, sentiment analysis, and it's been, the chatbot actually, it won against humans in Jeopardy contest. So you can actually read about that. Mondly. Mondly is one of the very successful apps in teaching ESL. It's based, it actually teaches 33 languages, and the chatbot can teach you in a regular mode or in augmented reality mode. So Mondly, it's actually it's an application. So Mondly and Replica are mobile apps. That's why I can't show them to you. So Mondly is, if you download Mondly, you can chat with the chatbot, and it will give you some examples. You record your voice. So it uses the chatbot technique, the automated the speech recognition technique, which is of course it's one of the AI tools, and then it detects mistakes in your speech, and then it would give you feedback whether what you said was good or not, and whether you have to repeat it. I didn't like Andy much. It's not as intelligent as Mondly, IBM Watson. And IBM Watson, it depends on how you are good at creating, and how are you good at creating chatbots, understanding the intents and entities of your students, and also maybe a little bit of programming. Replica is really good, and Tutor is also has been improved, because I found in my study that was 3 years ago or 4 years ago that yeah.
Apparently the slides are not moving. That's a comment I received.
Oh, do you see the robot?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, yes. So I'm still there.
Okay, so I'm so sorry, but
no,
someone
it's okay.
asked this.
So neural networks. So let's move to the second topic, which is, I think it's a cool topic. So have you ever played this before? This is a Google game. It uses natural language processing. And it asks you to type the first thing that comes to mind when you think of weather. So can you give me clues? Yeah.
Weather?
Yeah. So can you give me clues? What?
Hot, H-O-T, hot weather.
Okay. Okay, you win. Okay. Now, and you scored for moving the target word. Okay. And then let's see. Okay, Earth. Can someone give me a clue? Let's say land. Yes. So when you guess, so this relates to semantics, word senses, and synonyms. And this is a very good, classroom activity for students, or maybe you can have them play it, okay, in order to guess word relations, word senses, or synonyms in terms of words. So let's say I typed C. Try something else, because of course C has nothing to do with pen. Okay, pen. I write writing, and it would go away. We can also play blocks. It's the same thing, but it's much harder. So we have teacher, refrigerator, breakfast, telephone, fish. So we need to find something related to one of the words below. And then when we put the clue, so let's say juice. No, let's see if AI understands which block you're talking about. I hope it understands. Yes, that's lemonade. Okay, it guessed lemonade. And then, so basically you put lots of words into the system, and then you put the relations. Okay, and this is how actually humans learn. This is AI Dungeon, but I'd like to try with you this.
Amelia, I hate to interrupt again, but is it possible that you can share with us the screen of this site, not the PowerPoint, if you can?
This is the can you see the semantics?
No, what I could do is that you could stop the share of the PowerPoint and share the Chrome, for example, if you're using the browser.
Oh, yes. Oh, okay. Because I thought that I'm sharing the whole screen. Oh, okay.
I guess the Zoom would let you share only one item. So it's either the PowerPoint or your browser, whichever, or your screen.
I don't know. I've been doing, because maybe when I used to be the host, I can share everything. I didn't have this problem. Okay. So can you see the screen?
Yes, everybody is happy now.
Okay, thank you. So this is a natural language processing game. So the computer will try. So you have to give the computer a clue. So let's say, can you give me something? Okay, we have scissors, song, love. Okay, let's write emotions and see. Yeah, love. Okay. So this is a really great exercise for ESL students. Okay. So they can actually relate to synonyms and word relations and word senses in terms of semantics and meanings of words. So when they try, they will actually learn by doing, and this is really a great one. I'm not sure if you saw this. I'm gonna just put it again. So this is, can you see this? Sleep, newspaper, pirate. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So sleep. So type the first thing that comes to mind when you think of sleep.
Relax.
Yeah, this is, yeah. Okay, nice. But maybe, okay. The word most related with relax were just sorted to the bottom. So maybe we need to think of, yeah. Okay. So it's gonna show us another word, but I don't want to spend much time on this. Okay. So this one is also very good for writing. And so it's actually, it creates stories. Okay. I'm not going to, I'm gonna make a custom prompt. And can you please try to think of something that I can write at the beginning of a story? One day.
I always have this prompt, Amani.
Okay.
The day I stepped into that place, I knew my life would never be the same again.
Life will never be the same again. Okay, so let's see AI completing the text. Okay, so what do you think? Nothing will ever be the same after that fateful night when I discovered this dark place that even the tall and straight stone fence couldn't hide from its existence. I heard about the asylum in town before the fateful night, but I never gave it much thought. It's just a mental hospital with no patients of its own, and I never went there to see what kind of treatment they have to offer. But when I saw the asylum in full, well, it was shocking. It wasn't even just the insane asylum part. What do you think? What do you think of how AI completed the story?
It's
Horror
like
story.
a writer wrote it, not an AI.
Pardon me?
Written by human.
No, it's not written by human. Believe me, it's written
Yeah,
by.
yeah, it sounded like it is written by human.
Yes, yes, because actually, natural language processing is based on corpus. There is a very famous one actually that's behind many conspiracy theories and many chatbots that interfere or that replies to users on Reddit and other stories that you hear about GPT-3. So it's based on 1 billion corpus, 1 billion. It's based on a corpus of 1 billion words. So you can imagine like what you can do with it. So I'm not gonna switch to my presentation because it seems that I'm gonna switch, go back and forth, like changing the sharing screen. So this is Voki. It's old but gold, and you can try it at home. So basically, Voki, it's an avatar. And in the past, we used to do something like we create an avatar, we choose an avatar, and then I'm going to show you another example. That's why I didn't log into to Voki. So you create an avatar. It could be a human and it could be a monster. And then you type text and then you choose the how, like British English, American English, male or female. And you can also create multiple avatars and you can post them on a website in which each avatar tells a part of a story or tells a part of an achievement. Okay. So there's also Vosmi. Let me go back here and copy. I'm going to show you all the websites. Don't worry. Create MP3. It takes some time to create. Okay. So basically, Vosme is also a text-to-speech synthesis app. And I don't know why it's not working. Okay. I don't know why it's not working. Okay. It was working yesterday, but I don't know what happened. Okay, I'm gonna show you other examples. This is Oddcast. It's also a chatbot. Chatbot, hello there. How are you? Hello there. So it's basically, so can you tell me what you want to know from the chatbot? Can you ask a question?
What about COVID-19? So is it going to end soon? Will COVID-19 end soon?
Signs point to yes. Ask you if it is. Yeah, okay. Oddcast used to be good before. Maybe we can ask Tutor Mike. Okay, this is also Oddcast, and it's like Voki. That's why, and it's like Vosme, but Vosme doesn't have an avatar. So let's see.
The day I stepped into that place, I knew my life will never be the same again.
Okay, you can also change the speaker into Allison.
The day I stepped into the place, I knew my life will never be the same again.
Okay. Yeah, Paper Reader. Have you used Paper Reader before?
Yes,
Yeah, it's really great. E-Reader, ETS E-Reader. Also, it's one of the interesting tools that actually detect student errors, and they are really cool, and also they detect plagiarism. These are all, yeah, I have to change. These are all interesting tools. I didn't show you because I'm not sure if I have time. But I didn't show you AI Dungeon. It's also cool. It's a cool game. And this is a really cool game for ESL students. They create their own stories with the help of artificial intelligence. And actually the mobile app is much cooler than this. You choose many genres, and then you start it's like you are helping the AI creating, it's like you are co-authoring the story, and they start with giving you a prompt, and then you complete that prompt. Okay, find your destiny. So it gives you a prompt or the beginning of the story. Can you see it? Yes, okay. And then you type here, okay, I didn't read the story. Okay, so I'm gonna write anything. I lost my way. So you lost your way. So usually interactive fiction works like you are the protagonist in the story. So basically it addresses you with second person singular. Okay, I'm gonna switch back again before my time is over. So can you see this? Okay. Speech to text, we have Dragon Dictate. I used it with my students who have spelling mistakes. So who usually make spelling mistakes, and it really worked well with them. They paid attention, and this is what cognitive theories, theorists, they talk about. They talk about students paying attention to their mistakes, getting immediate feedback. So Dragon Dictate, Dictation, Transcribe, Speech are one of those apps. And those are writing assistants, ETS E-Reader, AI Writer, Textio, Pro Writing Aid, and so on. And you can find the paper, research paper. Intelligent tutoring systems, it's really struggling in the realm of AI, but other apps like math and stuff like that, Carnegie, Mathia, they are doing very well. But because of natural language processing, So integrating AI into education brings new quality to both learning and teaching. It's really a great opportunity for us to make use of AI tools in the classroom. Thank you so much. And I hope that you found this presentation useful. And these are my contacts. I'm so happy to have been a part of this summit. And thank you to everyone.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Amani. It actually took the time, and you were like flew us from one side to another, and that was really, really inspiring. Thank you very much. We have a very interesting question, and I'm sharing that request, please. It says, would it be possible to share with us the PPT or maybe the sites for those apps? Thank you. I would go for the sites with those apps. That would be brilliant for us to try them out.
Sure, of course.
So that is the first. Vance is saying lots of fun. You're getting a very good, fantastic feedback. Abdul Majid saying very useful, thank you. Ravati say thanks.
Thank you so much.
Sally say thanks. Ravati say excellent presentation. Sally says very informative. So everybody is kindly try to post all the sessions on your channel on YouTube. I think that will be already done, and Hannah will be.
I'm gonna send the PPT to Hannah.
Alma is asking another question, saying, what is the name of the second to last app, the game where they can create a story?
Let me share the screen because
You forgot.
No, there is Semantris, there is AI Dungeon, and there is the other one. I don't remember its name because it's Talk to Transformer. No, I wanted to share the screen because I wanted to know which one.
All right.
So this is Semantris. This is a Google game. Okay, Play Arcade, Play Blocks. Is this the one? Because this was the second.
Alma, did this answer your question? Please type on the chat.
Because on the same page there are two.
No, this is not what you wanted. Okay. There was the one. Yeah, is this the one, Alma? The one about the story?
AI Dungeon, or Talk to Transformer.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, the one about the day I stepped into that place. I knew my life would never be the same.
Yeah,
again.
it's okay. Well, the thing is, it's called Talk to Transformer, but the website is different. So I'm gonna share the website.
All right.
Okay.
Jody is saying it is AI Dungeon, I guess.
AI Dungeon, yeah, AI Dungeon. You can also find the app on I don't know if it's on Android, but it's definitely on iOS. And this is the genre of interactive storytelling and choose your own adventure.
Many are these apps or whatever tools, they are web-based in origin. I mean, they are originally
not all of them. Not all of them.
Not all of them. Okay.
Yeah. So Mondly, they have their web their iOS or Android app. But if you want to do it in virtual reality, they also have their own virtual. So it's web-based. They also have it in augmented reality, so you can see the teacher and you practice with the teacher. It's of course an it's like an avatar in augmented reality. So you can see the teacher in your room. You know, like Wizards Unite game, where you see Harry Potter or any of those characters in Harry Potter on your bed. Or have you played this game? Yeah, so it's really cool.
Well, that's going to be weird. Oh my.
One last question, Amani. Can these tools be integrated into our curriculum for formative assessment?
Of course. I was talking yesterday about you have to first think of the theory, of the linguistic theory and the pedagogical framework. And then, because that actually would give you the reason to integrate this kind of technology in the classroom. As Dr. Phil Hubbard, he's one of my favorite and role models. He has always said that you have to go back to pedagogy before actually in his book, in An Invitation to Call. He always talks about research, theories, and also pedagogy, and then technology. So it's also curriculum, pedagogy, then technology.
Perfect.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Amani. That was informative, inspiring, and really, really, it's a game changer. If all teachers apply this, best of luck, and keep on rocking us with and bombarding us with these lovely, lovely tools to be used inside the classroom. So thank you, Amani. And now we're moving to Dr. Abdul Majid. Who's it? Oh, hold on, I have to say it right. So, hello, Dr. Abdul Majid Buzaini. Dr. Abdul Majid is giving us a session today about the online provisions in ESL, EFL towards an integrated policy. A bit of background about Dr. Abdul Majid. He is a professor of education. He specializes in research on learning and teaching foreign languages. He has published widely on EFL in journals and books in Morocco and elsewhere. He is particularly interested in EFL, ICT in education, teachers associations, research methods, and quality in higher education. He has been involved in teaching and supervision for almost 4 decades and in teacher training both in Morocco and in other countries for over 2 decades. He's currently in charge of e-learning and digital transformation in the place where he works. Thank you very much. It's an honor to present you, Dr. Abdul Majid, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Amira. Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Okay, good. Good. Well, I'd like to thank the organizing committee and particularly Hannah for inviting me to talk here. It's all a pleasure and an honor for me to be among these nice people, presenters and workshop conductors. So let me just share my screen. I'm very sorry for the quality of my slides. They will not be like Basma's, Abla Basma, because you know, those people coming from education spheres are a kind of weird people with just figures and blunt and very boring things. So I'm sorry to bore you for something like 40 minutes to say all these things here. Let me just, to say all these things. I hope I can cover all of them, but I'm sure that I will cover them in something like 35 minutes, and then we will have time for questions and answers. I will start with the background. So actually what happened after the pandemic? So what happened is that the governments all over the world and the education ministries decided overnight. It's just, for example, here in Morocco, they decided on the lockdown on Friday, and on Monday, they decided let's go for online or distance learning. And after 3 or 4 months, there has been a kind of evaluation of this, in which nearly everybody says that it's a failure. And they say that it has been proven during the pandemic. To me, they are comparing 2 incomparable things. And that's why I have come up with this model of integrated policy, because there are people tend to compare the face-to-face teaching and learning with the online teaching and learning. And in some arguments to go for online provisions, some governments will say, well, there is digital content online and teachers will just use it in their teaching. Others would say that teachers are connected and students are connected. Therefore, the online teaching is possible. Other arguments will go and then say, as long as the students already know how to use computers, they already know how to use some applications. There is no problem in going to online provisions. And also, our government, for example, here said that we have provided free access to institutional language management systems. So it's free. Why it shouldn't work? And then we ended up with something like this. We ended up with teaching in 2020. With beginning of the semester, which is a real horse, which is good, but look at the actual teaching, look at where we finished. And this is exactly what I want to explain. I want to explain that unless there is a national policy, which has a lot of components, we cannot at all reach what we started with somewhere here. So let me just talk about the conceptual framework. That's what the different components of that policy. There are some system factors which are related to either the ministry or beyond the ministry. It can be even a governmental issue. And there are some factors that are related to schools. There are some factors that are related to teachers. And there are some factors that are related to the pedagogical practices and others that are related to the students' characteristics. So that's exactly what I'm going to talk about, because in order to have all these, by the way, so you will have all the references that I am showing here. There are a couple of slides in the end of my presentation with all those references in case you want to go deeper in these matters. Now, some system factors which are beyond universities or schools, because schools and universities normally do not operate in isolation from their immediate or wider contexts. I mean, they are closely related to what happens outside the school, what happens outside the university. And some of these features are the connections. So do all the stakeholders, the major stakeholders are teachers and students, do they have high-speed connection? Can they afford it? In terms of accessibility, do we have still digital divide that may occur between urban and rural areas, between remote areas and big cities? Also, equipment. Do the students have adequate equipment? I heard somebody talking about, I guess it was Besma, yes, talking about the obsolete PCs and perhaps telephone, smartphones, etc. And then there is something called e-readiness in society as a whole. And here I evaluated together with the students of mine how Morocco is e-ready. And ironically, we found that society is ready, but universities are not ready, because it's up to the universities that will train some graduates who will boost, obviously, the e-readiness within society. And then, do the students have enough space at home? Do they have quiet space at home? And in one word, is technology normalized in the students' lives? Normalized from Stephen Bax's point of view is when technology becomes invisible. And let me just simplify that in saying, as long as we are talking about CAL, computer-assisted language learning, and we are not talking about PAL, pen-assisted language learning, or about BAL, book-assisted language learning, because a book is normalized, a pen is normalized, but technology is not yet normalized. Computer is not yet normalized within society. There is something that is related to governance and leadership. What is the role of the hierarchy? I mean, at the national level, what's the role of the ministry? What's the role of the regional representatives of the ministry? Let's say in our case, the regional academies for high schools or for secondary and primary schools, and universities for higher education. is there somebody who will provide assistance, technical assistance, in case a student needs some assistance, or a teacher or a professor needs some assistance? The choice of approach, how are we going to go with that? Is it pure distance learning, or is it hybrid training? What type of approach we are going to take? Again, digital contents, do we have the contents that we teach as professors? Do we have it in a digital format? The choice of technologies, I'm going to deal with that, and the quality matters. The quality matters are very important, because a professor may produce a course, but unless it meets some quality matters, unless it is evaluated by a peer, we don't know what the quality of that course is. Here, I will just talk about the LMS. In order to have a good policy, can you imagine what happens in a real life or in real classrooms? And can you have all what happens in a real classroom in an online platform? What I mean is that synchronous communication, because there is a teacher or a professor there, and we should have an LMS that will provide us with both synchronous and asynchronous communication, and particularly video conferencing. And we should have all these in one point, not in different technologies. I'm not going to use 10 technologies to do all these, but preferably if it is in one point, just like the classroom. I should have in that LMS the possibility of managing my groups. I can pair students, I can put them in groups, etc., etc. And then I would go for engaging activities, and both Basma, Ola, or all Basma, Ola, and Amani have given us some tips about engaging activities, and Joy Egbert has published very recently an article just about that, and you will have the reference in the last slides. Also, an LMS will enable me to go for differentiated instruction. That is to say, I can send some materials to some students, to one student, to different students. It should give me the right to do this, because I do it anyway in my physical classroom. Sometimes I give more extra work to some students. Other times I give some assignments to other students, etc. I should do it. I should be able to do it in an LMS as well. Prompt feedback is that teachers or professors will be there or their assistants. Sometimes it's an assistant who will provide feedback to students, but there are three different types of feedback, and they are mentioned in the book by Haiti, 2007. Also, I should have a tracking system. A tracking system is a way by which I should know whether, because that tracking system in the physical classroom is, we check whether the students attend. Or if our students come to the classroom, we know that they are there. I should have in my LMS a kind of application which will detect how much time the students has spent on the LMS, what he did or what she did, what she produced, etc., etc. So I should have all these, and also I should check their achievements. In case you are in primary school or in early secondary school, the LMS should provide an account for parents to check their children's progress, because a child, well, that's what the parents do in real life. So they ask their children, do you have any homework? Did you do your homework? Are you doing your homework? How successfully were you in doing your homework, etc., etc. So all these things, so we should, an LMS should provide it. And an LMS should be preferably extensible, because no LMS is all complete, but we can add some things into that LMS. So I'm talking about open source LMS, and I'm going to cite some examples later. It should give us a possibility of assessments, and some types of assessments will be automatically corrected so that my workload will not be very heavy. Also, the last thing is sharing. I can share videos, I can share files, I can share all the types of files. I can share a picture, I can share everything, etc. with the students. If we have all these in one complete LMS, that will be great, and particularly if it is an institutional LMS. It's not chosen by the teacher, because there are other teachers who are giving the same, who are giving online provisions. And if this is the case, we should have one LMS in which the students will get trained, and in which all the teachers will, and then the technology will go invisible. An LMS should also guarantee the security of data and security of the students, because the students may have their emails, and if they have institutional emails, that will be great. The data should be protected, and the ownership of the data, it should be at the university level, or at the school level, or at the academy level, a regional level. It's not thrown somewhere online, and you don't know where it goes. Copyright issues should be, I mean, the students should be would be sensitized to copyright issues, as well as to they will be you sensitize them to plagiarism and the laws that follow that malpractice. Now, professional developments, because when the lockdown was decided, immediately all the decision makers should have thought about how to train teachers or professors to shift towards a new way of delivery. What do we know about teacher ICT professional development? Throughout the literature, I've been able to collect some items, and we know that it takes time. And you know that the teachers do not have a lot of time, because they already have to handle homework, they already have to prepare their lessons, to be innovative, to do this and that, etc. So where is the time? I mean, when the teachers can get trained. Another thing which is important is that the training is self-directed. What does that mean? It's motivated by the teacher himself or herself. It's not triggered by an institution, but it's based on self-training and self-motivation. I'm providing some evidence in the next slide. What we know also is that it's enhanced through informal discussions and through communities of practice. Those curious teachers who would like to go further in their training will try to find ways of improving their training and improving their knowledge about ICT and about how to use it in their delivery. Also, this professional development is a necessary but not sufficient condition for effective integration of ICT in ELT, because there are some personal matters that get there, and the personal matters, I will cite some of them in a few seconds. What we found in one piece of research is that we tried to separate some factors related to teachers, and there are some non-manipulative factors That is, those factors which we cannot change at all, just like age, just like experience. If somebody is 10 years, has an experience of 10 years, well, we cannot make it 11, we cannot make it 8, we cannot make it 12. Level of instruction, self-efficacy, and attitudes, all these are non-manipulative factors. We found that these factors do not hinder ICT integration as much as manipulative factors do. Those manipulative factors are training, digital content, infrastructure, hardware, software, and the teacher development, etc. So that's what we know about professional development. This is some evidence about self-training in CALL. And here it's a table from a research study that was done on something like, I guess, 120 teachers from Iran, which obviously, you know, who said how they learned ICT. So if you have a look at this, for example, so you will see that they all learned, most of them learned on their own, but others learned from colleagues. So that's why I said it goes from through informal channels, more than non-formal channels, I should say, more than formal channels, etc., etc. So that's just a piece of evidence. Now, in teacher training, we know that there are. I mean, this is the article where I'm working on. And I call it the LEAP approach. LEAP simply means literacy, self-efficacy, appropriation, and proficiency. So literacy simply means you train teachers in basic technology, how to use Microsoft Suite, how to use email, how to use the internet, how to look for information on the net, etc. And self-efficacy is when the teachers become confident enough to use computers and to use all the applications available to them smoothly and with no problem. Here at this stage, if you have noticed, the teacher is as a consumer here, and our main focus is on technology rather than on other things. When we move one step further, we come to appropriation. Appropriation is something that teachers can have over time. It's not something that we develop overnight. It's something that takes time. And when technology becomes invisible is when we appropriate it, is when it's part of our daily lives, when we use technology, you know, in a kind of very, it's part of our life. I mean, it's not something that we think about. I'm not going to think that, oh, I am going to use technology to do this. But I know that I can do it through technology. So I go to technology without even thinking that it's technology. And here, until we get to proficiency, and I have the backup of somebody else who works on the same model, well, on quite the same model, but we just differ in labels, etc. So here a teacher becomes as a producer, and the focus here is not anymore on technology, but is on what we do with technology. And that's what Marisha's called future readiness. It's what we can do in our teaching with technology. Learners profile. What do we know about our learners? We know that they are digital natives. I'm not going to explain what it means. And we know that they are hooked on using social media. But also in a couple of research studies that I conducted some time ago, I found that they use social media and they use any media that they use for entertainment more than for studies. Also, we know that they are very much interested in visually oriented materials. They are, for example, if you have a look at the reports about teenagers and about their interest, you will find that YouTube and Instagram will come first and all the rest will come last. Reddit, for example, it's meant for reading, will be the last application that they use, because it requires reading, and if it requires also writing, that's again, it's all the same, the same story. The students will not like that application. Also, we know that they are unpredictable. They tend to create their own soul, self-organized learning environments. It's what Mitra Sugata has shown in a series of research studies that he has conducted. And I will just tell you how he did that. He just put a computer somewhere with no instructions, a computer in a different language. He puts them in India, in English, in villages where people don't speak English at all. But 2 months later, he went there, and then he found that some children were using that computer perfectly well, because they create their own self-organized learning environment. Not only did they use the computer, but also they learned things from the internet that they used without anybody telling them how to use it, or how to use the internet and how to use the computer. I moved to pedagogy. And I refer to one article with the 7 principles of online learning, because that article goes exactly with what the language teaching and language learning requires. So we have teacher-students communication and collaboration, and LMS should give us that because we are working online. Student-student communication and collaboration. There will be horizontal communication and vertical communication. Active learning techniques, and that's what many of the speakers talked about, especially Basma, Ola, and Amani. Prompt feedback. So active learning techniques, I've just elaborated that. Prompt feedback. So if you go to, if you read the chapter about feedback in that book, in the book of Haiti, 2007, he distinguishes between 3 types of feedback. And that's very interesting to know why, how, and why you are providing that feedback. Appropriate time for tasks. Well, don't give 2 or 3 homework assignments at once, but you give the students a time depending on how difficult the task is. If it requires reading, so give them the time for reading. If it requires exchange, give them the platform, create a platform where they can exchange, etc. And then the respect for diverse learning styles or preferences. All these are obviously well explained in this article that dates back to 1996, and those 7 principles were tested in one article that came out just something like a few days ago, in which the author says, yes, these techniques still hold. What we know about the challenges in ESL and EFL, we know that learning a foreign language or a second language requires moving from input to intake to output. In other words, we train students to get the skill first and to use the skill next. So here, online, we should be clear about what we are doing. Are we trying to make the students know the grammar rule? If it is so, even if we assign some formative assessments, it should gear towards that objective. I am explaining, I am not testing. And then it requires a lot of interactions. And the question is, can the teacher cope with so many interactions online? And it entails, of course, a variety of technology applications. In the next slide, I'm going to show you some applications. And sometimes it requires individualized inputs. I should talk to one student, I should talk to two students, I should talk to a group of students rather than one more group. As you know, we have mixed ability classes, we have all these. And then ELT is already a thorny area of studies with too many options and sometimes contradictory findings. And they elaborate this in an article. You will find the reference. So these are some applications. I know that you know many of them, and you know others. I have just seen Amani's other applications, but these are applications aside, in addition, supplementary, in addition to the LMS, because when we are talking about institutional teaching and learning, we should talk about a place where we teach, because institutionally, the university, the academy, the ministry provides a classroom where the students come. They provide a place. So that place should be also in online. And then, this is the last slide. These are some implications, takeaway ideas. E-learning, or call it whatever, distance learning, any other label, is a business of all. It's not just a business of a teacher. If it fails, it's the failure, not of the teacher, not of the online provisions, but it's a failure because we don't provide enough conditions, favorable conditions, so that we can aspire for success. Societal factors happen to be beyond the school scopes. I mean, I cannot enforce laws if the online degrees are not recognized. What are we talking about? If the teacher workload is not recognized, I mean, it takes me a lot of time to prepare an online course. It takes me a lot of time to deliver it. Shall I count just the same number of hours that I have in my timetable, or shall I have another arrangement? Where are the incentives that go with this? Managerial and leadership factors, each person in the hierarchy should have a role. And school factors, hardware and software, LMS, digital content, so all these should be provided. I mean, not by the teacher, or by the professor, but by the system. Teacher readiness, training, online pedagogy, technical assistance, etc. And also it should be provided by the system. Students' readiness, we train them, we assist them, we guarantee their security, and in one sentence, all the above, I mean, societal factors, managerial factors, school factors, teacher factors, student factors, they all work in an interrelated way. They work in a systemic way. If one element fails, it's the whole system that fails. That's what happened to the horse, because there have been failures, not in online provision, but in the way it was carried out. This is exactly what is meant by integrated policy, and thank you very much. These are the references. This is the second list, and thank you very much. I'll move to the question answer.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abdulmajid. That was educating, that was informative, truly engaging. Thank you very much. And we are now for the question and answer part.
Okay.
Where's that? Sorry. Questions? Well, I have fantastic feedback saying, thank you, Professor, from Nada. Have also, thanks so much for posting. I have, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any question to Dr. Abdulmajid, it will be fantastic to ask now, or forever hold your peace.
Okay.
So Alma is saying thank you. Sahar is saying really it's an amazing session. So it was really, really educating. If you want to share, to ask any question, this is the contact list of Dr. Abdulmajid. So if you wish to ask
I
questions.
got a question here.
Yes,
well, you remember Dr. Abdelmajid Bouziane, you remember when we first met, it was like maybe 10, 15 years ago when we had this
it's almost 20 years ago.
20 years? Oh my God, I can't believe that. Oh my
doesn't show
God.
the age, does it?
Doesn't. No, no, no. We look as young. Okay. That was like a big conference, I think. You were like, you know, the keynote speaker, plenary speaker in that. And you remember the technology we had that at that time. You feel like now with our affordances of technology, now things are different. Are they to the better in terms of pedagogy, in terms of learning and teaching?
Yes, I mean, if you remember, Hannah, when we started, we were still struggling with, you know, our. I mean, when I started in Eastern Europe and when I started in Morocco, our philosophy was like this: we belong to developing countries. We know the limitations of our budgets. We know the limitations of what we can afford. Therefore, we opted for very cheap technology, and we opted also for contriving, you know, it's a kind of struggling with limited resources. And if you remember, we had something like how to teach English using PowerPoint, how to teach English using Word, how to teach English using email, using a mailing list. So that's all what we saw then at that time. I remember it was a Hornby School grant that we got at the time. And we talked just about basic technology, and we said that it can serve a lot of purposes. Then now we have better technologies because technology has improved on many levels. It has improved in terms of size. Now we have small gadgets. We don't have anymore those desktops, and it has improved in terms of mobility. It has improved in terms of interaction. Because when Web 2.0 started in 2005, it's when people started producing their own contents online, and all these developments. And now it has developed because now I am working from home. I'm doing all the professor training. I'm a trainer of all the professors in the school in the faculty where I work. And I'm doing it from my home at ease. We have no issue. Sometimes I have issues of connection, just like this morning. I called the operator. Now I am using my plan B. So I followed Besma's. Now I'm working with my 4G connection, because I know that's my connection, my home connection, although I pay for it. It's a kind of very expensive because it's part of the tool of my work. I work online, so I should have a high-speed connection, but it happens to be that on Saturdays and Sundays, my connection has a weekend, which is good. It's at least it pushes me to keep away from computers and keep away from the screen. Technology has developed enormously, and we have developed enormously. And Hannah, I will just show you that my colleagues have developed enormously since the shutdown. There were colleagues who had never done anything online before the shutdown, but now they are creating their own online materials. They are teaching their students online. They can use the platform that we have adopted. We have adopted an LMS, which is Moodle, because it has all those components that I have talked about. It allows us, it enables us to to work with different people. It enables, it has video conferencing. We have added 3 video conferencing applications within the same platform, and everything happens in one point. The student do not have to change technology. The professor does not have to change technology. And this is a kind of policy that we have adopted at the university level within the 18 institutions that report to our university, Hassan II University of Casablanca.
Thank you very much, Dr. I need to say this, it's from Sahar. She says, although I had the surgery the day before, I insisted on attending the summit from my bed in hospital. See how online learning helped me in such situation. Okay. We have to change the mentality of parents and students on how to have a better look to online learning. And it's time to take education to another level. That is quite inspiring, Sahar, and I wish you a speed recovery. Of course, we have another
full and speedy recovery.
Yeah, Khamis is saying, thanks, Professor, for this wonderful session. Vance is saying, great, always supportive. So it's really a pleasure having you today, Dr. Abdul Majid.
Thank you very much indeed. And I would like to thank all the people who are watching this, this conference. And I would like to thank you very, very much for the for such a wonderful opportunity and this great conference.
Brilliant.
So I will stop my.
Hannah, I am passing it to you. The floor is all yours now.
Thank you, Amira. Thank you, Dr. Abdul Majid. Hope you stay with us for some time.
I am with you, but we'll be a silent audience from now on. Cheers.
In 5 minutes, there will be the first panel for the whole event. We have 3 that we all have today. Okay, so the first one is coming up exactly in 5 minutes. So until then, okay, so the panelists, the guest speakers are free to show on camera whenever ready, and I'll be happy to introduce them.
Claire's advice was really good. She told me to hit the escape key, and that's what I did.
This is great.
Yeah.
Can she switch on camera?
I hope so. Claire and also Mike Contreras.
Well, is Mike online? Wow, Claire!
Oh.
A new hairdo. Oh my God.
It's my COVID hair.
That's your COVID hair.
You didn't say it was my hairdo.
No, it's totally different. You look totally different.
Well, the hair salons are not safe to go to right now.
No. Yeah.
In my city.
But actually, I like this style.
Before I start, I should tell everybody I have some very bad news. The COVID has hit my family directly. My husband yesterday was informed that one of his student workers has tested positive for the virus. So for the next 14 days, my husband is under quarantine, which in a way it's nice because he works at home and I like to have him at home. But anyway, as our president says, it is what it is.
It is what it is, and don't let it dominate your life. That's what he says. But anyway.
Well, I want to
Let's hope
stop.
it's okay.
After it is what it is, I'll stop right there. I don't want to repeat the second part of that.
But thank you for telling us. We appreciate that.
Well,
thank you for sharing and
it's just on my mind, you know, in case
positive vibes to all.
in case anybody is not taking this virus seriously. It's hitting my home this morning.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry about that. Wish him speedy recovery.
Well, he's okay. He doesn't have any symptoms or anything. So very likely he doesn't have the virus.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Who knows? Yes, maybe.
He's going to go on Monday and get a test. Getting tests in the United States is not very easy.
It's not that easy anywhere.
Anywhere now, yeah.
Well, if you live in the White House, it's easy, I guess, but
for everyone else.
Well,
okay. Well, good. Hello to all. I was going to say good afternoon, but
hi, Mike. This is my first time to meet you, and it's a real pleasure to have.
And really, it's like I know you because I've been following what you do, your work, and I've been seeing you in many places online. So it feels really like we've met before.
Well, that's so kind, and I'm really happy to have you on board. That's a real pleasure and honor, and I'm so looking forward to hearing you on the panel today.
Me too.
How about that? Okay, I introduce Vance. Vance introduces Claire. Claire introduces, no. I'm gonna just introduce all of you here. Let me just thank you all for being there for all of us and for kindly sharing your expertise and wisdom, words of wisdom here, because everybody here is freaking out, not sure what to do about their own teaching and their own classes. So that is well appreciated. Let me just—
This conference is really exposing that, and the insights people have been sharing have been just incredible. Those videos are going to be a real treasure.
I think so. I'm really touched by each and every experience. I learn everything in every single session. Okay, there is that one thing that I'm walking away with. It doesn't have to be like, new knowledge about like high tech. This is not about that. It's about us as human beings, us as learners, lifelong learners, as well as teachers. So I'm so grateful, really. So do I have to introduce Vance again? Because I introduced him yesterday. What do you think?
Yes.
I think
yes.
Our host, the one and only Vance Stevens, okay, who never says no to a webhead in need of help and support. Remember when I said Webheads in Action, Learning Together is the home for creativity. All right, so back to the proper introductions. Vance Stevens is the founder of Webheads in Action. You are on the editorial board of TESOL EG, right?
Yeah, I'm on the internet editor for the last 20 years or so.
Okay. You host podcasts, Learning Together podcasts. And it's like on and off, but now it's like 500 episodes, if not more. And
tonight
now
is 494.
Okay, you're so accurate with numbers. It really makes me feel like, I'm not that, I don't know. I'm not that good with numbers, you see. It's just the qualitative side of things. Anyways, so you serve as TESOL COLI-S Electronic Village Online as a coordinator and session moderator. Editorial board member of Call Journal, and you've received the 2019 Call Research Conference Lifetime Achievement Award. You received it virtually, and let me repeat that again. Okay, I can just, give you one of those like, tokens and flowers, hand them to you, Vance. You received them now virtually, please.
Yeah, I couldn't go to the conference, but I had registered for it. So they went ahead and awarded it to me and let me receive it in Zoom or Skype. I can't remember which. Okay, so we're going to hear first from Claire Braden Siskin, Claire Siskin, I guess she prefers to be called. That's what it says on her nameplate there. And she's a consultant, teacher trainer, practitioner of computer-assisted language learning. And she has 20 years of experience at least as an instructor of ESL, EFL. She's past chair of the Cal Interest Section in TESOL. I am too, by the way. I was the first officially appointed. She has a strong interest in international education, has given presentations in 24 countries. And we have Mr. Mike Contreras over here, Dr. Mike Contreras, sorry, but we call him Mike. Anyway, he has a privately owned language school in Greece. He believes in engaging his learners, so he says in his blurb, through the use of active learning spaces and Cal technology as a tool to succeed in achieving learning outcomes. And his current research interests include gamification in EFL schools, and of course, flipped learning, and of course, hybrid learning, which he's going to talk about this evening. So we have here a document, which all our documents have tiny URLs. And Claire, to answer your question, you could put the link in there at your leisure to your presentation. And you can reach this document, anybody can, by going to Summit, that is tinyurl.com, Summit 2020 panel. And that will take you right here.
Vance, can I interject here? Can I put the actual PowerPoint there or just the link?
If it's actually a PowerPoint, no. But if you can put it up on Google Google Slides, and
I'll figure it out.
You can even embed it there if you want.
I think I'll go old-fashioned, and people can email me if they want to get a copy of it.
Okay. Anyway, basically, this is a navigable document, and talked about the panelists just now, the speakers' bios and photos and all that. And we're going to talk about, this is what we're going to do. We're going to, if you click here, you can go to the speaker's notes. You can go back to the navigation hub if you want, and you can go back to wherever you want to go. So I like the way Google Docs lets you navigate through its documents. So Claire, should we go right into what you have to say? Let me overview. Claire is going to talk to us about autonomous learning. And that we think that's the crux of everything. You know, autonomous learning is really the root of all the hybrid teaching and the blended learning and all that. Your students have to be able to take some responsibility for their learning. And I'm going to talk about blended learning as a precursor to emergency remote teaching, which is a time we've passed now. Mike is stuck in the new normal, which is, I could probably have, oh, here we go, I just passed over. He's going to talk about hybrid classrooms. And that's where you go beyond blended learning and you go to where some students are in the class and some are not in the class. And that's really a completely different ball of wax. So Claire, we're going to take, I think, about 15, 20 minutes each, and we have a 10 or 20 minute question and answer at the end of this. So I put times here, by the way. So in this, if we go back up to Claire's part. Okay, so Claire, she has almost half an hour. Anyway, I thought we were going to start at 13:10. So we're early, aren't we? Okay, so anyway, well, anyway, say what you want, Claire, and we'll see where we end up. And I'll try to be sure and finish by whatever my time is. That's my part. 13:10 is my part. Sorry, Claire's part is already 8 minutes into it.
We're behind, yeah.
Okay.
Well, anyway, here we go. Okay, I don't know how we will figure this stuff out.
I don't know if I need that much time. Okay, can you unshare? Can you unshare your screen?
Sure.
And I'll share my screen. Okay, for my PowerPoint. Okay, can you all see the PowerPoint?
We can.
Good. Okay, so moving right along. Let's see. I think I'm not in. Yeah. Okay. I've been doing quite a bit of reading about autonomous learning recently. And so I put together a web page. It's in that Google Docs that Vance was showing you, but that's the URL. I'll also include that at the end if you need to see that. Just various resources and things that I may be referring to during this talk. Okay, basically right now, you know, we've got the virus, we're teaching at the distance. I feel isolated, okay? I think our students feel really isolated. And whether we like it or not, our students have to do a lot by themselves. That's just That's just the way it is. They have to become autonomous learners. And this, of course, has to do with self-directed, independent learning, taking charge of their own learning and being responsible for their own learning. Okay, is this an opportunity? I don't know. The previous speaker was saying that a lot of people are now getting turned on to online teaching who were not before. That's a good thing. This may also be an opportunity for our students. There is some research showing that some students actually do better with online learning because they don't have the distraction of their classmates. I think others are doing a lot worse because their teachers don't know what to do, their parents don't know what to do. But apparently there is a small, maybe growing percentage of students who are actually doing better. Okay, I'm going to be referring to CALL, Computer Assisted Language Learning. Some people prefer to use ICT or TEL, Technology Enhanced Language Learning, or VANCE's acronym. Are you still using this, Vance? Social media
assisted language learning, because
exactly,
I think
yeah. I couldn't, I knew Vance would be here, so I couldn't leave that out. Okay. Anyway, I think CALL, and Hannah said that we were going to be talking about, we don't necessarily have to be talking about new ideas. And some of the things I'm going to be mentioning are very old ideas indeed. But I think there are some advantages when students are working by themselves. CALL can have some advantages. And I'm not going to mention all the advantages, but just a few of the more salient ones, okay? Repetition, students can repeat and review, okay? Repetition is the mother of learning. Okay, they can learn at their own pace, okay? They don't have to be in lockstep with what their classmates are doing. I'm gonna stop and get some water. Students have direct access to authentic materials through the internet, newspapers, menus, train schedules, plane schedules, shopping, etc. With social media, students may find opportunities to use English outside their classes. To me, this is one of the most exciting things. I'm a speaker of Portuguese because I lived in Portugal, and just about every day now I read Portuguese, and I even write some Portuguese in small amounts. And that's an amazing advantage, I think. One goal is that students are actually producing language and generating language, not just reading it passively and consuming it. With Google Docs or other tools, they can create their own text and share them. Feedback, they can get all kinds of interactive language practice through feedback. It may not be good feedback, but at least it's some feedback, better than nothing. Okay, other advantages have to do with links that give definitions, pronunciation perhaps, translations. They can track their progress. A translation may not be seen as an advantage by everybody. We all know of the pitfalls of that. Okay, students may, if we help them, gain a sense of confidence. Oh, I can do this by myself. Okay, however, teachers do worry, and I've been hearing this for over 35 years, I guess. If students are learning without me, what if they don't need me? Well, I don't think you have to worry about that. I think they still need their teachers. On the negative side, okay, I think there's definitely some negative aspects. A lot of materials are poorly designed. I hear this over and over from teachers, and my response to this is always, well, look at the textbooks. The printed textbooks also have errors, also have problems with design. Okay, Vance is going to disagree with me about this, but I love free materials. Free is great, but they may not be the best. They may be of low quality. They may have distracting ads. If they waste our students' time, they aren't really free. So I think we have to look at more, oh, he's nodding his head, maybe he doesn't. Oh, we'll talk about that later. Sir, I share everything I do. Anything I do, I give to everybody free of cost, but I don't think that just because something is free, that it's necessarily the best thing to give to our students. Okay. Students by themselves don't always know how to choose the best materials, and that's where the role of the teacher comes in to help them do that, okay? Authentic materials can have a big disadvantage. If it's so difficult that they can't understand it at all, they're not going to be motivated. It's very demotivating. So this is where the role of the teacher comes in, to curate the materials and help them with this. Everybody loves multimedia. I love multimedia. I love including audio and video and pictures as much as possible. But that does not guarantee better learning by itself. It can be distracting. Learners may not take advantage of it just because you have a sound file. Are the students really going to listen to that? So we don't know. Okay, feedback may not be helpful at all. A, B, C, I'm going to choose C. Yes, correct. What have I learned there? Maybe nothing. That has not necessarily taught me anything. Okay, so I'll say again, teachers have to help students take advantage of the benefits of online learning. When the pandemic started, I put together a page. Excuse me, I'm going to cough. Sorry. I put together a page called Study English by Yourself. It has links to a bunch of free materials. Everything there is free. You don't have to register for anything, and there are very few ads. I think a couple of the pages do have ads, but they're very minimal type ads. So this is something you may want to check out for yourself. Some of these materials are very easy and basic, and others are more difficult. But that's something you might want to check out and see if anything there is of use to your students. This page is linked from that first page that I gave you. Okay, now how can we encourage our students to be autonomous learners? Okay, I think we have to give them as many choices as we can. Instead of saying, do this, do this, do this, we have to give them choices. I recently took an online course myself, and one thing that I really liked about it was that in every single lesson, every single unit, there were choices. We had to do assignments, we had to do tasks, and we had to read things and comment on them and summarize them and react to them in various ways. Some of the readings were not very interesting to me. Others were very interesting. And in this course was designed in such a way that I could decide what to do. I could figure out what was most relevant for me. And I like that a lot. And I think teachers need to do more of that. Okay, we have to realize that tasks take longer if you do them online. Many tasks do. We may have to give students more time. We have to be understanding of how long it takes them to do tasks. Okay, we need to use various modes of communication, not just written text, but pictures, audio, video, and incorporate those as much as possible. We need to be really careful that our instructions are clear and consistent. If we're in a traditional classroom, if somebody doesn't get it, we can go around and help that student. But if they're at a distance, we have to be even more careful than usual that they understand what we want them to do, what we expect them to do. Okay, I think we should give them as much personal feedback as we can, since the computer-generated feedback may not be that useful. Okay, autonomous doesn't have to mean alone. I think social interaction is still very important, and we can give them assignments where they're using social media and interacting with other learners in different ways. I want to talk a little bit about learning management systems. I think it was Vance who commented, we're finding out what teachers know and what teachers don't know. And there seems to be a big confusion about various tools. Okay, the LMSs, the learning management systems, are things like Google Classroom, Canvas, Moodle, Edmodo. All of us have our favorites. Web conferencing tools, that's what we're doing now. We're using Zoom. Google Meet, which used to be Google Hangout, it's basically the same tool. Cisco WebEx, Webinar Jam, I've used all of these in the last few weeks. These are very different. The LMSs are basically online courses where a teacher can go and put materials, have discussions, give tasks, etc. Web conferencing tools are where we're all meeting together as we are now. The main difference here is that the LMSs are mostly asynchronous. Students are working independently. They're not working all at the same time, although some of them do have tools built in where they could have synchronous chat or conferencing. The web conferencing tools are more like a traditional classroom. They're synchronous. Okay, many, at least in the United States, many parents are complaining because the students are sitting all day in Zoom sessions and just sitting there staring at Zoom all day. I would say don't try to do everything as a synchronous classroom. Give students assignments that can be done offline. There's on the webpage, there's an article about that. You can take a look at that, about how we're giving students more responsibility if they're doing their own assignments and not just sitting there staring at a Zoom screen or a Google Meet screen. So I would say use an LMS if you can. Most teachers don't have any choice about what they use. Their school or campus decides for them. If you don't have one at your school, use Edmodo because it's free and everybody can use that one. Basically, the LMXs are very teacher-centered tools, okay? But they can be set up so that learners have choices, as in the course that I just took. And we can make activities that promote more social interaction. Where, for example, instead of just asking them to summarize something, we can ask other classmates to comment on what students have done, etc. Okay, if there's a discussion board, encourage the learners to help one another. I was teaching a rather large linguistics class not too long ago, and I put up a discussion for Q&A where students could ask me questions, but I don't want to be there 24 hours a day. And so I said, well, you know, go ahead, everybody jump in. If you know the answer to a student's question, go ahead and answer it. And I found out after the first couple of weeks, I didn't have to answer many questions at all. They answered one another's questions much faster. Sometimes at 3 a.m. they were in there answering each other's questions. And I think that is the direction we should be going in, not having everything depend on the teacher. As I said, Hannah, this is not new stuff. This is not new information. Okay, if we do online discussions in the LMSs, we can give students options. And for example, how many posts do they have to do? What are the requirements? How can they reply? What kind of prompts do they have? Can you give them, do they have to answer every prompt, or can you give them a choice? You could have synchronous discussions or asynchronous discussions. So let them have a voice in what they're doing. And I think they'll be much more engaged. Okay, teach them how to use search tools. A lot of students don't know that. And if the more that they can go and find their own information, the less they're going to be asking the teacher. Repetition, I know it's old-fashioned, but it's really useful, and encourage them to repeat. Okay, have them reflect on their own learning. Have them do reports about what they're doing. Have them do diaries, just like the old-fashioned writing journal. Have them evaluate their own progress and get their reaction to how well they think they're doing. Encourage them to take risks, encourage them not to be afraid to make mistakes. Okay, encourage your students to take a break. Do you know this? Gulab, I think, Indian snack. Stop once in a while for 5 minutes, eat a snack, take a walk, enjoy nature, but encourage them not to just sit in front of the computer screen all day, but to take breaks. And how long did that take me, Vance? About 5 minutes? That's basically it. Thanks for your attention. That's the web page. I'll try to figure out how to put the PowerPoint up. If I can't, send me an email. I'll be happy to send you the PowerPoint.
Send me the link, and if you have a link, then I can do that.
A link to what?
If you put your PowerPoint in Google Slides, and then
okay.
And usually they go in.
You can actually import it to Google Slides. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
Import it.
Yes. Yes.
That sounds like a lot of work, but I'll try.
Well, Claire, just send it to me, and I can send it to them.
I'm mostly teasing.
Do it herself, Mike. You can't. You just got to solve the problem. You know, she's got to be upon them.
This will be my choice, my learner's choice. I'll try to do that. I'll make that the challenge. Okay.
Well, Claire, you did really well on time. I consider you started 8 minutes late. That was amazing. Okay, so what I'm going to try, I say it's 12 after the hour now. I'm going to try to hand off to Mike around at half an hour. What I've done is I put all my stuff here. I got kind of PowerPointed out. So I'm going to, oh, here we are, advances part. That's me. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this nice little screen share here. Let me just get it down where I can. You know, it's got that little floating thing right where my taskbar is here. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about blended learning as a precursor to emergency remote learning. What that really is that, in my opinion, I've been doing blended learning for a long time, and some of my colleagues have too. When you are comfortable with blended learning, that is, you're going into face-to-face classes and you're creating, you know, you're using LMSs and all the things that Claire talked about. If you're actually doing that in your face-to-face classes, then you are in much better position to go into an online environment. And I got to learn a lot about this as an English language specialist just recently. And what I did, I gave a, let's see, let me pop down to this. This is the workshop that I gave. Okay, and I did this face-to-face, several different workshops. One of them was on blended learning. And at the end of this, they had me do an online course. So I took it online from mid-February to mid-March. And at the end of that, I discovered the people who were really, in my face-to-face classes, the people were not, they were sort of normal people that you would think during a, they're taking your courses, you're standing in front of them and they're just there because they were told to come here. I mean, they like it if you're engaging, they like what you're doing, but they're not, it's not just in time for them, it's just something extra for them. But when they, in January to February to March, when they took the online course, they started getting stuck into the fact that they couldn't go to real classes. They had to use some of these resources that I was telling them about. So I created this document here. This is it right here. I'll show you how to reach its link. It's in the document that I just gave you. But basically, this is what happens if your school decides that not to do, you can't go back to school. And what I do here is I put all of the Learning Together things that I have. I keep that updated. Like this morning, I updated it. I update it almost every day. So people could come here and see like all the things that we're doing in this summit. They can see what's on an updated basis. And I've put in a table of contents here. You can pop down and see what those table of contents points to. Basically stuff like this. I'm going to come down to where I've got my blog posts. So you can see an example of some of the things that they link to. What I want to get down to is the blog posts. Here we go. I just wanted to show you through scrolling. So the blog posts, the last ones I have are from September, but I've been collecting them all along. But there's really a neat one here by this guy, AJ Giuliani. I don't know if you've heard of him, but this one struck me because it actually gives you it's a post about 4 engaging structures that work in hybrid learning classrooms. And it really reads kind of like a manual. Let's see, if I just scroll down a little bit, there's a station-to-station rotation model. He explains like this, how you can organize hybrid learning, a flipped model, and etc. So if you're interested, you can have a look there. I'm going to pop over to where I was over here. Okay, so actually I was over here. All right, so this was part of my hybrid course, not my hybrid course, sorry, part of my blended learning course. And the front page that I showed you, which is here, you can get to that resource if you pop down to the, oh, am I in the wrong place? Sorry about that. Let me just close that because it's in my way. What is that? Close that. Okay, so on that front page is a sidebar, and you can go there if you were on my page, which happens to be workshops2020.pbworks.com. So another thing you can also link to from that page is my blended learning, the e-learning course that I was doing. So let me go scroll on down here. So the blended learning course was trying to model for teachers how to flip learning through using the tools I was teaching in the blended learning face-to-face course. And the face-to-face course, you can see some of the tools that I was using. I've got them over here. So this is just module 2 of my face-to-face course. So you can see a lot of the tools I was covering. Screen capture, screen recorders, things like that. So that kind of tool, you can see from the table of contents what they are. So if you go to the document and click there, you'll see that. And also as a part of this, I gave a plenary on flipped learning. And how did it get here? No, that's, oh, that's the, no, how did I reach that space? Oh, okay. Let's go back to my, oh, we'll go to my, my workshop page because it's here. The plenary is down here somewhere. There's the plenary right there. I don't know how I put the wrong link there, but anyway, this is my plenary, my Thai TESOL plenary. And it was recorded. And there's a picture there of Jeff LeBeau. I don't know if you know Jeff LeBeau, but he was part of my online course. You know, you'll get a cohesive, if you go to this document, you can see this more cohesively. But what Jeff told us was that in order to, let's see if I can find what he wrote. Let's see. Yes, here. Here we go. So this is where I interviewed Jeff in my online course. It's one of the webinars, which are also linked in there. So Jeff told me about how, Jeff is somebody I've known for a long time, and he's done something called World Bridges, where he's been doing webcasting with people, teaching people how to webcast. And so he went to Busan in Korea, and he's doing cooking classes with his students. They come online, they talk about cooking, they show cooking to each other. He's just a natural at this kind of thing. So all the stuff he's doing is blended because he's meeting them face to face, but he was setting this all up for the department. So when they went into emergency remote teaching, he had it all set up for them. So he said, you just have to add Zoom. I don't know if that's really a correct thing to say, but that's what he said. Obviously it's a simplification, but in my online courses, I told you, this is the, that's the online course itself right here. Okay, so it has a Schoology page. I think, yeah, I've got it open right here. Okay, so there's a Schoology page there. And I ran it in Schoology. Let's see, in week 3, that's week 3. Yes, okay. In week 3, nope, that's my, go back to the front page. Okay, so week 3, where is it? Week 3, there we go. Okay, so in that week, people were starting to discover that they had a problem with, well, they needed to use these tools and use them themselves. So a lady named T, Ajarn means professor in Thai, so she called herself Ajarn T, and she posted a tweet that said this. She said, "Heading for my family and kids in Italy, this is my only hope of how to manage classes in Thailand, all for the best." So she's obviously was appreciative of things that she was learning. She's just one example of the people who were realizing that they had to, that this course was important for them. There's a hashtag. This is the blended learning hashtag that I set up for the course. So you can read other people's comments. Let's see if I've got it set in the right way. This is the latest, that's right. So have I got, yeah, that's right. Okay, anyway. So let me pop back over here. So having carried forward this, what I was trying to do was carry once the course ended in mid-March, I wanted it to continue. I continued working at it. I continued in my mind. I put on the resources page that I put up. I put that up and I maintained it. And I also went into something I called Talon. And the way I went into Talon was, it was teaching and learning in isolation. We started it because Michael Coughlin, in my community of practice, he's one person who helped me start the Webheads community of practice in 2002. And he wanted to get together with colleagues online, as we did in the past. So at that time, I was conceiving teaching and learning in the new normal. And we have an archive of our webinars that there were 38 of them that took place between March 30th and August 9th. They're all recorded. So this lady here, Minnie Wang, is going to be talking after our session. She's doing a talk here. Anyhow, so you can see all of these recorded, but they're really a part of Learning Together, which is, let me just go to Learning Together here. Learning Together is something I've been doing since 2010, since 2010. And you can see all the past events archived at this page. And let's see if you could want to pop down to, these are the most recent this year. Oh, by the way, something that Claire said about engaging students in online environments, SOFLA is something that really does that. Let's see, I'll just search on SOFLA here. We've had several episodes about it. Let me just, because Elaine Marshall started, she's done a lot of writing on SOFLA. So we have some interesting episodes here where we've been demonstrating SOFLA, synchronous online flipped learning approach, which is a way of engaging your students in online environments. So, but this is all from 2020. All of these are linked with links to the recordings in the learningtogether.net page. And our very first one actually was in 2009, but we weren't really doing it then. We were calling it speed geeking back then. But in 2010, we put on some, in 2010, let's see, so anyway, all of these are recorded, blogged somewhere. Here's one of the early ones. Heike Phillips showing us Edunation in Second Life. So most of them are recorded with videos, especially the latest ones. Okay, so anyhow, getting back to Tallinn, that's really kind of the last thing I wanted to bring up. I'm keeping my eye on the clock and we're segging into Mike's part. So Tallinn is something that my cat came up with. But what I did after the 38 lessons, I noticed that we had at the first, we had a lot of people applying, maybe 2 a week, 3 a week. And then we started tapering off where it was people weren't, I wasn't really going out and recruiting so much, a little bit, but not so much, but people were offering to do them, but people were tapering off a bit. So what this kind of showed me was that they were no longer so concerned about emergency remote teaching. And okay, we've talked about that, we've helped each other. Now we're ready to go into what I call Tallinn Squared, which is teaching and learning in the new normal. And I haven't really done a lot with that. I stopped, all these episodes are Learning Together episodes. This episode right now that we're doing is episode 494. And anyhow, I think teaching and learning in the new normal has a lot more to do with what Mike is going to talk about, because that's really how things are shaping up. I don't know, Mike, what do you think? Is that a good start for you?
I think your input and Claire's input and the conference's input is a good start for me. I believe that all around, it's an amazing job of all the educators coming together and grouping together and sharing their, giving input and sharing their information between each other all around the world. You know, that has absolutely amazed me. It's simply awesome. I've been around in education for the past 20 years, but I've only actually just come out of my shell from Lesbos Island. I live on a really small island in the North Aegean Sea. I've only just come out of my shell because I accidentally bumped into a couple of people online, and they told me about TESOL Greece. And a couple of years back, I went to one of their conferences, and I was just blown away of meeting other educators, passionate educators that are open to sharing, that are open to giving and connecting. And then I started learning about personal learning networks and started opening it up a bit. Just to mention, I think it was the year before, I was the winner of the Eleftherios Korbas yearly scholarship for the TESOL, because I could see George Korbas in the here in the audience. After that, I connected with a couple of people from ITEFL, became an ITEFL member. Along the way, I met Vance, and yeah, Vance has been just a huge influence on me and to me, and the way he believes in connectivism and sharing and becoming a better educator through other educators and so on and so forth. About 3 years ago, I bumped into online. I'm from Lesbos Island. I bumped into Van Stevens from the Oregon University and Carolina Rodriguez, Martha Ramirez.
Jeff Magoto?
Jeff Magoto, yeah.
You said Vance Stevens.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry, Jeff Magoto. You're an influence. Okay. You're an influence to me, yeah, on me. And so, as a student of Electronic Village Online, of the Flip Learning and Language Teaching, a couple of years back, I ended up becoming a moderator. So this is my second year of becoming a moderator, and that's been a life change for me, getting into Flip Learning and learning about active learning strategies, and touching on what Claire said, trying to get young learners, because my teaching context is all ages, but it's mostly about young learners. So I get in my little school, I get students from very young ages, first grade, second grade. I do also have teenagers, and then I have exam classes with Cambridge assessment, and all the way up to English for academic purposes, English for specific purposes, and so on and so forth. My background is electrical engineering. I'm a Loughborough University UK student or graduate. Came back to the island. I was born and bred in Melbourne, Australia. So I came to Greece and Europe with a TEFL certificate. Started teaching, fell in love with it, couldn't get off it. I came to Lesbos Island to do a postgrad on cultural informatics. Loved the island. Ended up staying here. So I've been here for quite a while. Did a PhD here on the island at Lesbos University. So let's get back to the topic and connect it with everything we've seen so far. Yeah, okay. Touching on what Claire said about autonomous learning, for me, if my lifelong goal, I would say, my objective is, I'm trying to get my students empowered, even the young ones. I want them to become autonomous learners, because when we get them, we give them, everyone knows that if we give them sources and resources that is relevant and meaningful and purposeful for them, they'll not only create for you, but they'll also start creating for themselves. And I'll tell you what I'm talking about in a minute. And one of my biggest bets is, how do you get young learners responsible for their own learning? Yeah, how do you get second, third, fourth graders saying that I want to leave your classroom, I'm motivated enough, I'm engaged enough to leave your classroom and do something for myself and advance my language skills. Going back into moving away from face-to-face classes now with the COVID pandemic, and what I tend to tell all my colleagues who ask me is, don't just mirror your face-to-face classes. You have to plan differently, you have to change. And if you're still doing it, move away from just passive learning and start getting into some active learning, changing your approach. By active learning, I always like a quote from Errol St. Clair Smith from the Flip Learning Global. You know, I believe that Flip Learning is obviously it's an active learning strategy, but we say that Flip Learning is a meta strategy where we connect all the other active learning strategies in class. So having an environment of some students in your classroom, some students at home, it's very difficult because my teaching context is like I have students 2 times a week, maybe 1.5, 2 hours for each session. So if we're talking about K-12, it's a totally different ball game. I believe what Ben said and Claire, that we can't just mirror our face-to-face classes and get K-12 students from 8:30 in the morning all the way to lunchtime sitting in front of a screen. It's not possible. So obviously there we have to balance out our synchronous classes, short synchronous times with a larger asynchronous base. For here though, some of the strategies we use in class and we try to incorporate for our hybrid lessons are a lot of this differentiation. We sometimes have to differentiate all the types of learners we have in our class, having different learner styles. That could mean preparing different types of activities using in-class flip or mastery learning, using different kind of workstation work, which could be, some workstations could be just straight on the PC or in the computer lab, or having their own tablets in front of them. Some work could mean from the course book. Some work could mean with the teacher. Good. And at the center, we have Flip Learning. Great. Another thing that I picked up from Flip Learning Global is to, when we're talking about asynchronous and synchronous work, you have to find a balance in levering the work you have maybe asynchronously and the work you do synchronously. And one of the things that I really liked and I really aim for using Bloom's taxonomy, it's a good thing to do most of the low-level, low-order thinking skills on the asynchronous time. It could be reading an article, it could be watching a video, having an understanding stage, having a small quiz stage, putting in accountability, applying it. Maybe in language course could have some language skills like grammar skills, and you could apply it there. And then when you come to class, have the more higher order of skills where you're analyzing a topic, you're evaluating maybe a story, you're talking about it, maybe you're trying to get them to create a new story using a Google Doc. I'll try to be short and sweet and maybe show some things I do practically, which is quite interesting, I think. A lot of synchronous learning platforms, the mainstream ones are there, like Zoom and Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, and so on and so forth, GoToMeeting. But when you choose organizational synchronous platform, make sure they have breakout rooms, because breakout rooms are at the heart of pair work and small group work and preparing for your activities. Because, for one thing, for example, Google Meet, you have to have the paid version, the G Suite educational version, or the paid version to actually use it. Great. Hybrid in my context. Hybrid in my context for me, face-to-face classes, yeah, okay. Maybe it's a bit cliche what I'm going to say, but I really believe that you can't really replace the teachers. You can't really replace the contact that you build with face-to-face classes. So the way our school sees hybrid classes as a direct solution of the COVID pandemic, or a direct solution of a child, a young learner, or a learner that can't make it to class. Yeah, it could be a reason that it's raining heavily. It could be a reason because someone's got a cough. It could be like a small cough, but you know, nowadays a cough could be connected straight away to COVID symptoms, and you're better off staying home. But don't lose the lesson. Connect. This is quite cool. I wanted to show you really quickly, just a couple of seconds. We had a case where one of our teachers had a symptom, and we didn't know how to handle it. Eventually, it was just a bad tooth, and it was actually, you know, it was due to having something else. But we made her stay home until she got it sorted out. And here's a last minute where we had the teacher at home, and we had the teacher assistant help, and and it actually worked out quite well. He was just using just wanted to show you the intent of Great. And then there's the case of tools and more tools and tools. And this is the next part of the conversation I want to have with building autonomous learners, using hybrid solutions, choosing tools out there. Just before I do that, you know, English language learners, a lot of Lexis building, vocabulary quizzes, a lot of quizzes, games out there. I just wanted to show one of my favorites. One of my favorites is, I've got absolutely no commercial connection with this one, is GimKit. And this is a group work where we've actually collected the Zoom class, and we've got a couple of students at home and a couple of students in class. And we used this as a brain break for about 15 minutes where they were just revising some topic vocabulary. And I really enjoyed it. This was like 2 days ago. And this is sort of a little game where they're competing against the lava challenge. They're competing against, here are my students. And basically, it's more game oriented, and kids like everything to do with games. And using game-based activities, gamification, actually really helps, you know, even older students. So having all these tools during COVID and even before COVID, because of my, you know, tech background, I was using long ago, you know, Moodle platforms and a lot of other such tools. And one of the problems that I was faced even before COVID is, how can we connect? You know, one of the first things we do in class is build report. So how do we actually connect to our students having an online environment? Is that actually possible? Can we actually do that? So I started, you know, investigating how can I get them connected and keep them engaged in their learning even after my class. So yeah, it's all about having an LMS. It's all about having a communication channel. It's all about getting them involved and using active learning strategies. But as you know, as Zoltan Durney once recently mentioned in one of his books about engagement with Sarah Mercier, you know, motivation is necessary for preparing the deal, but engagement is indispensable for sealing the deal. So basically, he says that you can use all these bells and whistles to get your students motivated in learning, but how can you keep them from not going into oblivion as soon as they walk out the door with their gaming and their YouTubing and their TikTok and every other thing they're bombarded with, which is a lot more interesting. So basically, after using a lot of commercial tools, I actually sat down and made my own. And really quickly, in just a couple of minutes, I just want to show you, there's a lot of open tools there. And basically, I wanted to have something like a digital classroom, Google Classroom. I'm a private educator, so I was not eligible for Google, a Google education license, as I'm not eligible for a Microsoft education license. And being a really small school, that really cost me. I also needed a learning management system, and yeah, Google Classroom, oh no, sorry, Schoolology and Canvas and Class Dojo, Edmondo, types of learning management systems. That was quite cool. But then I started getting all my students, we're talking about young learners here, and I started getting all my students a little bit mixed up with their usernames and passwords. And here, take a username password for that activity, and here, take a username and password for that activity. And then I wanted somewhere where to have a student portfolio, have all their work come together. And as Claire mentioned, I wanted the use of discussion boards for some, you know, higher order thinking and reflecting, and the use of it, and the use of such boards for maybe for exit flips and stuff like that. And then I wanted to build a community platform and a messaging system, like I've seen on a few ITEFL site and a few online conferences where they've got their own WordPress site, and they've got a buddy press underneath and stuff like that. So really quickly, you know, time's up, but really quickly, I've built something on WordPress. We've gamified it, so we've got our houses this year, and all our students are broken up into houses, and we've got our...
Dear students, it has been a very difficult year here in Keduland.
And we've got...
Ever since Demotivate gained access to the teleportal.
And we've got this parallel dimension where the evil Demotivate is trying to conquer the world and trying to get into our classrooms. Moving along really quickly. Here's the community connection. And, you know, if I just go through here, it's Saturday afternoon here in, you know, Lesbos. I've actually got students connected. And things are happening, and they're connecting with each other. There's a way of connecting with friendships and changing avatars. We've got a messaging system. We're uploading our flip grids and our book reviews. And then each classroom has got their own personal space. Here's a very young learner space. We had a session. I told them to write an email and send it through our messaging service. So it's a protected environment. We're off Facebook Messenger and Google and Viber and all these other, you know, open exposed platforms. So we have our safe environment. Finishing off, here's a word cloud that they built in one of the C2 level classes where they revised some vocabulary. Here's our Google Doc, open Google Doc, a couple of worksheets. Moving on, here's a discussion panel where we post most of our exit flips. Things like, you know, we talked about 21st century skills. So I got them who actually created this idea and why, and you know, go out and inquire about the issue and write your ideas here. You know, artificial intelligence, do you believe about the artificial intelligence? So what I'm saying is there are ways of building your own space easily and cheaply. My feedback is, you know, it gets, when everything starts running, this actually really picked up, and I had problems with the web hosting company. I had to move another plan, and then to another plan, and then to another plan. So eventually I got, I've got about another 5 or 6 schools here in Greece involved, and they helped me. They built their own as well. So we actually got a shared plan, which is quite good. Here's a learning management system. In the learning management system, we use a tool called 5HP. That's an open platform where you can embed videos.
Cedric Diggory was...
This was just a YouTube video where we're talking about passive voice. And this was a flip learning. This they had to do it at home. And basically at home, they watched the video.
And basically,
Oh, there you go.
I know you've heard of the passive before.
And so on and so forth, where the video stops and they get questions, they get accountability questions and activities. Then there's a certain quiz. Moving on, I'm finishing. We embed now our the links. We embed it inside using iframe embedding tool, so they don't actually have to go outside. We make our own flashcards.
He is short.
Yeah, we use our own, vocabulary lexers, and we make our own flashcard matching games, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, sure. Call the office anytime. That's 213-456-9789.
And so on and so forth, yeah?
Anytime at 213-456-9789.
Just finishing off, for me, it's about connecting and engaging your students to becoming autonomous learners, and using digital tools really helps. But a lot of work has to be done with your learners, a lot of conversation and discussions and about taking on the responsibility, because we could have our learners there and say yes, 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 yeah. And as soon as they leave the school, they'll be bombarded with something else and they'll forget. And when they get home and the parent says, what do you have to do for your study, for your homework, George? I'm not sure. And then they have to go online and investigate it. Whereas if they know how to log on, they've learned it, and they take on the responsibility, all they have to do is just log on, go into the classroom, look at what they got, do some stuff, get prepared for the class, maybe even flip it and have the remembering stage outside of the class, come to class and do more interesting stuff. Okay. I was trying to be really short there. To the point.
You were right. You're like 1 minute over the end of the session. Is perfect. I mean, the three of us, we are timekeepers. We are really, I'm waiting for congratulations from the supervisors here. While I'm waiting, I'll put this link to Lane Marshall's paper on SOFLA, which has a neat chart in it, which shows how it has 8 steps. And one of them is going into the rooms, what do you call them?
Breakout rooms?
Breakout rooms, thank you. Yeah, it has breakout rooms, and it has all kinds of, you can look at the article and you can find the charts and read the article, and it's very interesting about how SOFLA, you're probably familiar with that. Elaine was a moderator of the flipped learning session, whose link I put up earlier in the chat. Yeah, so
yeah.
You were.
And I think you had a session yesterday here. Hannah, is that right?
No, it was Heike. Heike had a brand.
Heike, Philip talked about the SOFLA, is that right?
She has been, yes. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was experimenting with a certain idea she had in mind, like adapting SOFLA in one way or another. So it's her first time to go live with in a conference setting. So that was yesterday, and we had a lot of fun doing work with her yesterday. Thank you very much for an amazing panel and for sharing so many impressive ideas. I had some comments in the chat box here, and people are saying, like, I think it's 1 million thumbs up. I can't count the zeros here. I learned
1001.
a lot. Yeah, double infinity. Wow.
Alpha.
People are simply impressed here. Thank you, of course, for sharing the links, very quick links. And then we can sort of like refer back to Vance's curated documents. I mean, he's so accurate about curating stuff and putting that in the right order. Without him, my whole idea would have been messy. I mean, thank you, Vance, for that. I've asked myself here a couple of questions. So maybe yes. You work, Mike, here. That's okay. I'm addressing Mike because he talked about young learners, and it's like that's the main age group you work with, Mike, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Reports from around fellow teachers in Egypt, school teachers, those you're working with very young learners and young learners. Well, they report that it didn't work for them. Remote learning failed tremendously with that age group. What about your experience? You run a private center, not a school in the formal sense.
It's a lot less hours.
Mm-hmm.
But my experience say that back in March 11th, the Greek government announced that we're going into total lockdown. Because I had this platform open and we were using it quite a bit, I just announced on the platform that as of March 12th, we continue our classes online. The only thing that's going to change is a Zoom link or a Jitsi Meet link we have as well. And basically our most avid supporters were the young learners. They really enjoyed it. They really liked it because we made sure they were actively involved. And, a lot of people say, you're going to put young learners in breakout rooms. Aren't you going to get the Beavis and Butthead effect, and stuff like that? Yeah, you do, but that's part of the fun. And then as you're going into the different breakout rooms and you automatically see, it's like, oh my, they're speaking English. They're actually involved. They're using it and they're interested. And then that's when you start saying, wow. But I think during a crisis and having crisis management solutions, a lot had to do with the sense of belonging and sticking together and connecting with your teachers and connecting and being safe and all that. So they took on a lot of responsibility and a lot of pressure, the young learners I'm talking about, too. And it worked quite well. Active learning, gaming, making it interesting, a lot of asynchronous work afterwards with just quizzes and on class. I'm just trying to think of the way as I'm speaking as well. A lot of scavenger hunts using home materials and that type of activities to keep them involved and keep them active and producing the language.
Sounds interesting, but in our case, because they were assigned like project work and asynchronous work, parents ended up doing the work for the kids just to ensure the kids would get scores and pass the courses and get high scores, whatever that means. It's just like the kids were not involved enough, and you don't have direct supervision, asynchronously. How can you tell? This is the work of the kid himself or herself and not the work of some adult trying to assist.
Well, I suppose a lot of questioning and differentiate the level of questioning that you do on your synchronous sessions. For me, even if they get help on, being specific, little present, simple, little activities and quizzes at home, even if the parents do it, they're going to come to class and we're going to talk about routines and we're going to talk about this, how they're going to cope, how they're going to handle it. It's going to be, and once we start putting pair work and small group work, they're going to be feeling the anxiety of not being able to participate. So, but yeah, we do have these types of cases. So a lot of scaffolding and differentiating is needed there.
Interesting. And how can that kids by nature are kinesthetic more than anything, and they wouldn't stay still for long hours? Okay. So the question is, how can you do kinesthetic activities and you know, kind of work, scavenger hunts and stuff.
Okay.
And
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's like involve them, like, you know, physically.
Okay, guys, I want you to quickly run around your house and find me something yellow. Can you find me something yellow? No. Let's play Mr. Mike Says. Everybody stand up. Sit down.
Vance is finding something yellow here.
There you go. Hey. Okay, Vance, you get 100 credit points.
Yay!
You're supporting your Thunderfox clan. Well done.
Can I transfer that to time on Kedu? Can I do that? Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll even give you a badge.
All right.
Vance, you asked about the name of a game that Mike was referring to, and we couldn't catch that name.
I think it was GimKit. I think he said
GimKit, GimKit.com, yeah?
Yeah, he was using GimKit.
It's been made by a 17-year-old student in the States. And and he started off a spin-off company, and I think he's about 19, 20 now. And just the games that he brings out are so awesome. And I could actually say that it's making it really more interesting. But, you know, there's a lot of stuff out there like Quizlet and Quizzes and Quizalize and Socrative and so on and so forth.
Can I say something?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Yeah, there's a cool little app called Zigazoo. I just put the link in the chat box, and basically it's very much like Mike was saying. Find something yellow. It's little research projects you can do. It has links to various resources like museums, and the young kids go there and they get some information and they make a small video and they share the video in the LMS. It's kind of cool.
Have you ever? Sorry, go ahead, Mike. Have you ever figured out how we can create virtual tours to some place like a museum? I mean, I know there is such stuff online, like virtual tours to a museum. You go and, you know, Madame Tussauds kind of, you know, using.
Or Google Expeditions as well is a great tool.
Is that for free, or is that like, you know, with subscription?
No, most of it's free. I haven't stumbled upon something to pay for Google Expeditions.
I mean, that could maybe add a little bit of cultural knowledge, get them to go and find stuff, go and visit stuff. I don't know, when I'm just off the top of my head.
Having a 360 camera, you can make your own, and you know, even like the tools I mentioned before, you should really check this out. There's this, I got this from 5hp.org. They're open platform tools, and you can install it on school servers or university servers and run it, or private servers. That's got a tool where you just throw in your 360 photos, and you can make your own like a walkthrough and stuff like that. Yeah.
Sounds interesting. Claire, you actually shared some of the very important ideas. It's like, you know, things like that might sound old techniques, but actually they work at this point in time still.
Well, I'm very old, so naturally I have old ideas. By the way, thanks to Vance and Mike's encouragement, I was able to make a Google Slides out of the PowerPoint, and I linked it there. Yeah, I'm kind of lazy, but anyway, it's done.
You're not. No,
my husband helped me.
Well, good for you. I remember the nice techniques. You're specialized in writing, kind of like training, academic writing training and teacher training. So how have you, or I think you've had a group of trainees that you've worked with lately, right? Am I right in that assumption? Or
are you talking to me?
Yes, Claire. Well,
mostly what I've been doing recently, I've been trying to not get the virus. That's my main thing. But I've been doing webinars for teachers in India. I did about 4 in the last few weeks. And I'm going to do one in 2 weeks with a group of teachers in Bangladesh.
So virtual. How has, okay, you haven't done that before. You prefer the face-to-face interaction kind of teacher training, right?
Well, I do, yes. you know, Mike referred to that. You know, there is something about the traditional face-to-face that I enjoy, but it's exciting to do. It's exciting to do stuff online, to realize, my God, 1,200 people have registered for this webinar. 900 people actually showed up for the webinar. You know, that's hard to do in a traditional classroom.
Yeah. Of course.
And they're from lots of different countries, including countries where I'm not allowed to go, and from countries that are not allowed to come. People are not allowed to come to the United States. And that to me is very, very exciting. That's a good thing. You know, we're transcending some of these artificial boundaries.
Really sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I can't really thank you enough. Vance, would you like to make some closing comments here?
Well, gosh, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you can go to our webpage, which is, what did I say? It's tinyurl.com. What did I call it? Summit 2020 panel. Summit 2020 panel. You can be sure you go there to find out. We might put more information in there. I might put some of this text chat in there. So yeah, this is I haven't worked with Mike before, but I'm really impressed with his work, and I hope we can get him on Learning Together soon and talk more about it. And Claire, I've known for a very long time.
Very long time.
Very long time, yeah. We're old friends.
Yes.
And we've also known each other for a long time.
And we're also old.
Old is gold.
Yeah.
And thank you again for joining us in this amazing panel.
Yeah,
I just want to thank Vance and Claire for inviting me, and it was a really great pleasure. And I would just say to all the teachers out there is, look after yourself, because now that this thing that just came out of nowhere, there's a lot of advantages, as Claire said, but now that you're bombarded with all these resources, for teacher training I'm talking about and connecting and stuff, you have to filter and decide and choose. And do it slowly, because, personally, it's like I'm bombarded and I want to do this and I want to do that. And, if I don't start choosing and specializing, I'll lose it. So look after yourselves first, take breaks.
That's a very good point. One thing that's been hard for me to learn is how to say no. No, I can't do that. I don't have time. Yeah, it's hard.
A very good reminder. Yeah, we don't really have to do everything. Thank you very much for the reminder. Yeah, thank you. And that is the end of our first panel. And we got 2 more to go. Hope you are able to join us later today. Thank you very much again from the bottom of my heart. Claire,
well, thank you very much. I'm going to go have some dinner. It's about 10 o'clock here.
And I know.
Dinner calls.
Okay, I know.
Well, I might say goodnight. I think I'm going to hang out for Minnie's presentation, Minnie Wang, who's coming up, and she's been coming to our webhead sessions lately. And
may I ask you to check out, because I've been trying to help her for the past hour. Could you kindly check with her? I'm not really sure why she cannot log. I mean, I've been sharing the link with her and everything, but for some funny reason, it's not working for her. So try.
Okay, I'll try to reach her. Okay.
Yeah. Hello, Sheila. You're muted, Sheila.
I'm muted.
Now you're unmuted. I'm pasting the text chat into our document here. Let's see. I'm actually recording this on Camtasia. And I'll probably post that into. I'll probably put it in the blog post. I'm blogging all this on learningtogether.net. So.
Yeah. So
anyway.
boy.
Now
nice
it's
gold.
Yeah. Officially, this is the slot of Minnie Wang. Okay. With a featured session, but I'm not sure she's able to join us right exactly now. So we may have to go to the next speaker and maybe come back to her. I wonder if Lilika is here in our room. We might have to really do a swap. And Amira, help me out. Can you see Lilika? Yeah, I can see her.
Okay.
Let me just ask her first if she's ready. If she is, we can swap or what? What do you think? We have to ask her permission.
Absolutely. It's getting warm in here.
Yeah.
Minnie's problem is she doesn't have a Zoom account.
Even if she receives the link, I mean, she logged yesterday. I gave her the link and she logged yesterday. And that's what I'm worried about. I mean, I'm not sure what her problem is.
She logged. What do you mean? She joined you in Zoom?
She said yes. I mean, she could follow us yesterday. That's what she told me.
On YouTube, on the stream?
Okay. I have to take this offline and check it out.
Okay,
So,
anyway, I'll talk to her. I've got her on the text chat here.
Please. Hi, Lilika.
Hi, Hannah. Hi, everybody.
I'll pop out. Otherwise,
Hi, Mike.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Claire. I'll stay here, but I'll just mute myself.
Okay. Wonderful to have you. Almost a year, right? Since we last met online, remember? Yeah, we had an interview. It was almost a year. You look great.
Yeah, thank you. So do you. Do you want me to go ahead now, or what would you like?
If you wish, if you're ready, we would appreciate if you go,
I'm ready. I'll just, can I share, or will Vance give me co-host?
You are a co-host. You are, so you can do whatever you wish to do.
So shall I introduce Lilika?
While she's preparing her slides, Amira, my friend and colleague, co-moderator, is introducing you.
Right, so Lilika is talking to us today about beyond the pandemic, what empowers, inspire, and connect. So Lilika is a teacher educator and EFL school management consultant in Greece and abroad. She's a co-director of educational and training concept and has co-authored EFL teaching books. She's the founding member of TESOL Greece and of the Greek Fulbright Alumni Association. Lilika is the 2021 TESOL Greece chair. It's an honor to introduce you, Lilika, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Amira. I didn't expect you to say so much. I thought you were going to say, this is Lilika Kuri from Athens, Greece, and she's going to do this. That's all right. Okay, Hannah, you time me in a sense, but I pretty much know how, let's say, when I should stop. Okay, now, beyond the pandemic, what? Okay, I'll tell you all how I came up with this idea. I do accept and I do recognize and I share and empathize with the tremendous severity of the pandemic and of what it has happened and of all that we've had to do. But I'm a Greek to begin with. And Greeks are not only romantic and imaginative and all that, but we're very pragmatic as well, or at least I am. And yes, okay, all of these things and how we're going to teach and online and all that. But, okay, we have the pandemic. What do we do beyond the pandemic? Actually, not only beyond. Now, what do we do? And I'm addressing us. This session is for us. Mike and Terry said earlier, take care of yourselves. Well, Mike, dear, this is what I'm doing. If you're there, I'm going to be talking about us and how to take care of ourselves, because I don't know about your countries and all that, but our teachers in Greece overnight, as all over the world, took over a tremendous and very hard task and job to teach online. In most cases, most hadn't even thought of teaching online. And they dared it and they faced it and they did make the difference. But nobody really said much about it to them. Nobody really thank them. And there are many colleagues who do find it hard with family and children and their classes and their learners and the masks and all of these things. So let's see what we can do about ourselves and how we can help us. So I want us to think of ourselves. And and I want you, I want us to have some positive self-talk. So take a deep breath, please. Inhale, exhale, close your eyes and think of yourself, your abilities, your talents, and all you have accomplished, not just now, all you have accomplished till now. Then complete 2 or 3 of the sentences below. I am, I believe in, I can, I have, I dream. You choose. I'm going to give you 3, 4 minutes and I'll count down. You know, the same way they do in the gyms and everything, 5, 4, 3, and so on. Okay, but really think of yourselves, your talents, your strengths, and right. And I'd like to see if I can see it in chat. Okay, and well, there it is. I believe in the power of collective information built in Mike and Dennis. Yeah. Amira. Oh,
yeah,
okay. Oh, no, nothing. I saw your name and I thought you had written something. I was going to read it out. I'm tired, but hopeful of the future. I believe in friendship. Yes. I am Iron Man. I believe these too shall pass, of course. I can get through with this. Yes, and this is rare. I believe, correct. I can survive. Beautiful, Celia. Okay. I can achieve it if I really want to. I dream big to keep me going forward. Yes, I have hope. Good. Yes, and I hope many, many more. I don't know how many are there. How many are out there? Can't see the thing. Ah, there. Good. Well, you should write a bit more. But let's just look how this helps us. The rationale for this activity, and by the way, whatever activities I have for us today, they are for your learners as well. And they are for your learners online, in person, hybrid, whatever. Use them. They really do help a lot. They feel the same way we do. Why? Why would we do an activity like this? Why do I suggest it? Being aware of our self-worth is very important, extremely important. And it is a fact that only we can empower ourselves, nobody else. And recent psychology research encourages positive self-thinking, introspection, and most importantly, self-knowledge. In other words, absolute know thyself. Know thyself in all your ways, your weaknesses, your strengths, your talents, everything, because this is how you become stronger and resilient and more confident. And it is very important because, yes, this is something that came out of the blue and it is worldwide, but it is something that we will overcome. Yes, there will be losses, but there have always been losses. And it is very important that we know how important we are. We need to encourage ourselves and keep reminding ourselves not only who we are, but also how important we are. And this is what I call social emotional living thinking. Yes, it has been influenced, of course, by social emotional learning. And social emotional learning is very, very important. But right now, I want us to exercise and to practice what I call self-awareness, gratitude, common sense and self-management, reflection, connecting with others. And there are many, many more. This is what social emotional living thinking is. It enables us to know ourselves better and to feel good about it, to accept others and their feelings, very much like social emotional learning, to develop our social skills and relationships, to see things realistically, because this is another thing. I know, and I will apologize to anybody who might feel, let's say that I'm a bit harsh on that. But when I hear people, how could this thing happen? Well, it happened. How could World War II happen? How could famine in some other countries because they were far away? How could famine happen in those countries? How could wars happen in other countries? I wonder sometimes the Syrian people, are they wondering, how could this happen to us? Probably. Everybody, everywhere. So let's look at things realistically. And it helps us develop our self-esteem and introspection. It is important to look inside every now and then. I'm not saying do it every day, you know, get up in the morning and do this, but it is important to look inside. It is important to try and see how we feel inside. Now, I know we all know Alvin Toffler, and he has left important things to us. And yes, this is a famous quote of his, and everybody knows it, but I chose it specifically because I wanted to focus on these learn, unlearn, and relearn, because this is what is happening to us right now. And from what a number of doctors that I know and who deal with the pandemic issue in my country have told me, it will last for at least 2 to 3 years. Vaccine, no vaccine. Therefore, I want us to see what is it that we are learning, what do we need to unlearn and to relearn. Well, what are we learning? We're learning new skills. Vance was just saying that he's learning, if I'm right, he just before he was to go, he said, I'm putting it on blog, I'm learning something about blogging and all that. I know Mike and Darius deals with this because he has his blogs. I'm right, Mike, right? Okay, and all of us have been learning new skills. Well, think about it, something like 9 months ago, nobody or just about very few people knew about Zoom. Let me tell you, I found out about Zoom when Hannah, about 1.5 years ago, contacted me to talk about using literature in the EFL classroom. And she said, it'll be through Zoom. And I thought, what is Zoom? You know, I mean, Zoom. Now everybody's Zooming, So, and many, many other things, new skills, new ways, new values and manners, and ways to behave during this extraordinary time, new ways of teaching, completely new ways of teaching, new ways of connecting, of being mindful and affectionate and of seeing things. Quotation marks, but think of it. seeing things. Look at the picture. What do you see? And let me see in chat what you see. And don't just stay with the clouds and blue sky. Just surpass yourselves. Move beyond. Peace, future, hope. Thank you. The sky, the way we saw it from airplanes, a silver lining. The sky is our limit. The way to heaven. Oh my God, you are so good. Clarity after the storm. I went straight into a psych mode. I see a face smiling at me through the clouds. Yeah, true, Mike. It could be. It could be the light after the storm, at the end of the tunnel, guiding us. It could be anything we wish to see, the way each one of us decides to see. By the way, this is a very recent picture. I took it coming back from swimming 2 days ago, and that was the sky. And I thought, my God, this is perfect for Saturday. So let's look at things and choose the way we see them. Let's look at our learners and choose the way we see them, but also help them see things in a different way. Now, what do we need to unlearn? Well, is it possible that we need to unlearn ways we used to, let's say, we used to use and believe in, and ways we used to evaluate things? Ways we used to evaluate behaviors, expectations we had of everybody, of ourselves, and we considered normal, quotation marks. Is it possible that we need to unlearn certain comfort zones which hindered our development? I wonder. I'm not saying this is it, but I am asking questions. I'm asking myself. Yes, there have been many comfort zones that all of us, everything was perfect, everything was working, clockwork. Our associations were having their conferences. We used to travel all over the world to do seminars and all of these things. Things have changed. What do we need to relearn? Well, do we need to relearn certain values, knowledge, other skills, attitudes, beliefs, and family rituals we may have neglected or forgotten? Do we need to rethink them, redefine them, and re-examine them? In a sense, do we need to sit back and rethink and re-examine our life? Individually and as a family, as a learning community, as a country, as the world. Well, something, okay. Now, having asked all these questions, I realized that we are building and creating a new profile. Some very powerful organizations have started talking about being future fit. Well, yes, the future is there, but I believe we should also be present fit. And what is it that we need in order to be future fit? Well, self-esteem, what makes us, and this is something, mind you, that also corporate, major corporations, major organizations really are discussing and considering and are trying to coach their staff to develop these qualities and skills: self-esteem, resilience, adaptability. Yes, they are the 21st century skills that many people have been referring to, but these are specifically important right now. Flexibility, foresight, grit, common sense. I believe a lot in common sense. It is extremely important. Creativity, faith, gratitude, and I'm saving one for the end. That's our new profile as individuals, as educators, as family people, as friends, as citizens of the world. This should be and is our new profile. This is what we need somehow to accomplish. You're going to look at a word cloud, and I'd like to ask you what you believe the topic of the word cloud is. So choose 4 to 5 words from the word cloud and tell us in chat. And you need to say why. Why do you believe the topic is this? So here's the word cloud. And write in chat so we can share all together. Survival kit. Survival skills. Teacher and learner. Interesting. Coping, well-being. Being passionate about what we're doing is what gives us perseverance. Yes. Grit, no matter how difficult things are. Find the courage to continue to matter for your learners. They need you. Learn, unlearn, relearn. Yes, my qualities of 21st century teacher. Well, the topic, and I took the words from the discussion of the topic, is resilience. The top skill and quality needed by all of us. How resilient are you? And whatever you see, the text is not mine, but it is what Amit Sood, an MD from Global Center for Resiliency and Wellbeing, has written. But it is extremely interesting. And Amit Sood believes that there are external factors and internal factors in terms of developing and sustaining resilience, which is what, because of the pandemic and so many other things, all of us need. So, internal factors: self-control, flexibility, ability to cope, adaptability, acceptance and willpower. Self-confidence, strength, self-reliance, determination, resourcefulness, perseverance, courage, optimism, and humor. The external factors: personal relationships, our friends, our loved ones, our colleagues, and others, purpose and meaning in our lives, things that motivate or inspire us, and communities and social support. I find it extremely interesting because our tribe, and right now There's a tribe, the Learning Together tribe, and there's another tribe, the Nile Thistle and the Thistle Gulf and the Thistle Greece and so on. We create and develop our tribes, but there are other tribes also, our national tribes, including people who can empathize with our circumstances and life's challenging moments. So resilience is what I'm hoping for all of us to have, and I believe that we need to develop it even more, and this is what we need: self-worth and resilience, and one is tied to the other. And the one I left out, the last one, I said I'm saving the last one, is dreaming and daydreaming. And I want you to look at this photograph carefully. There is nothing more true and real than a dream and human empathy and kindness. And this is what the young man in the picture said. His name is Marios Giannakou. The young lady is Eleftheria Tosiou, physically challenged, extremely physically challenged. Her dream to reach the highest peak of Olympus, the mountain of the gods. Well, she did last Monday, October 5th at 9 in the morning on the back of Marios Giannakou, who's a long-distance athlete in the jungle, the desert, and Antarctica. He heard of her dream and he promised her to take her there, and he did. And they reached the peak of Olympus, which is very risky and dangerous to do. So dreaming and daydreaming for all of us. It makes no difference what might happen, what has happened, and so on. Don't ever stop daydreaming. Don't ever stop dreaming and hoping and being strong and resilient. This is what is going to keep us going as educators and as individuals. So, as we look at this beautiful sky, and I haven't used any filters, and it's exactly the way I took it when I did, there are and there will be major changes. So stay positive, stay safe, stay calm. And let's be grateful that we are in the making of a new way of life and of teaching. So till we see each other again, let's just close our eyes and join our hands in a circle, this imaginary circle that unites us all. And remember and rejoice that we are one. Thank you.
Thank you, Lilika. Thank you. That was really inspiring, motivating, and calming as well. So I'm lost in words here, but they're very, very nice and really give us a lot of hope. So thank you for this. A lovely presentation. Is there any question that you wish to ask Lilika? Please post. All right, we have a fantastic feedback. Thanks a lot from Nada. Mike is saying thank you. Raya saying, oh, thank you so much. Great talk from I wish Ayat is here.
Sheila.
Sheila, all right. Great talk. So
yeah, that's Sheila.
Mai is saying super inspirational. Thank you loads. Filled with hope. Sheila again. Right. Okay. Hannah, I'm passing the floor to you. So.
Well, I'm just over the moon now. I mean, listening to Lilika is always beautiful. I mean, she is full of, a lot of talents, a group of talents all together. I remember, watching her in action, Thistle Greece. She had a different character. She was like an actress, all right, on stage performing, I just had this interactive webinar with her, like an interview online. And just like debating with her, all right, the idea of literature, should we or shouldn't we teach it? Because of like, you know, as a language learner, people sort of like force that on us and we don't really like it and so on and so forth. And today, now look at that inspirational keynote. It's just like made me feel like, wow, this is the wow effect. Lilika, you're always, you know, an inspiration to your listeners, and can't thank you enough for giving us that state of mind.
I thank you for the opportunity. I always enjoy being with you, and I really did enjoy our first webinar with the literature. I don't remember you in the audience, but I should say thanks to Luke Prodromu, because you saw me in a sketch that he had designed, I believe. Thanks to him, I went back on stage because I used to, and I went back on stage, and it's nice. I've enjoyed it. So thank you very much. Thank you all. And I wish everybody to stay safe and be well, and we will overcome everything, I believe. Okay?
And hope you sort of like, you know, share some of your creative skits and stuff from TESOL Greece. I know that you're doing a lot of workshops at the moment, online and stuff.
Yes, we do. And thank you for the opportunity, because I'd like to invite everybody. The call for participation is out, www.tesolgreece.org, and submit your proposal. Our international annual convention is on March 6-7. It is virtual. And the theme, permit me to say, is unbeatable. Human rights in education, literature, and art. There's nothing more we could have talked about, really nothing better. So please join us to celebrate our 1 year of overcoming the pandemic, because TESOL Greece had its annual convention last year on 7-8. And on the 10th of March, of 7-8 March, and on the 10th of March, everything went on lockdown in Greece. So we're celebrating our 1 year online. I wish we could hug each other. I wish we could see each other. But unfortunately, we will have to wait for a little longer. But I'm really counting on everybody to join us and to submit proposals and to be with us. Our plenary speakers are amazing. Dr. Bessie Dendrinos will talk about human rights and in linguistics. Hanya Bosiek will talk about human rights and art. Judy Boyle, the founder of the No Project, will talk about Get Up and Soar. And Joe Gakonga will talk about alternatives. So it's an amazing collection of plenary speakers. And you might see a theatrical performance. We don't know yet.
That is what I'm looking forward
type the URL in the chat, Lilika. So please type us the link, please.
Address of
yes, I will. Yes, yeah, I will. It's our website, and if you click there, you get all the information. We have a wonderful webmaster, George Hadis, who has made everything extremely easy for people to work with. And you will also find in our website, once you're members, all the videos from our Daring the Virus project that we did between April and June. We really, I don't know, the pandemic kind of inspired us and we worked hard. Okay, I think I have finished, haven't I?
Almost there, yeah, I think so.
Oh,
yeah. You
there.
still have
Good.
like 5 minutes, but no problem.
I have 5. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Can I say something that's very important? It has to do with resilience. It also has to do with our learners and ourselves. And it is supported and suggested by 1 or 2 major resilience fighting centers. When our learners feel upset, or when we see them having too much, one of the best ways to calm them down is to tell them, okay, even if we are online, to get up and go and put their hands against the wall and push the wall and just stop there, breathe in, breathe out. This, psychologists say, helps them a lot to find the calmness they need inside them if something has upset them or so, or to take a walk. Well, I have to say something. 3 years ago, I was in Kazakhstan training teachers of sciences, chemistry, physics, biology, and IT, and teachers whose English supposedly should have been B2 level, but it wasn't. So we were actually, instead of training in CLIL, we were actually also teaching the language. And they were adults. Some of them were extremely notable mathematicians in the country, and they would get frustrated. And out of the blue, one day, as I saw these 18 colleagues in other sciences being so overwhelmed by this English that I kept throwing at them and the CLIL and everything, I said, okay, get up, follow me. And we left the building and we walked around the block twice and everything changed. And then after that, I decided, oh no, every now and then our breaks are going to be, okay, I would have music. Let's dance. And they would dance the waltz or Kazakh dances, which are wonderful. And this is how they were able to fight their frustration, their exhaustion, I should say, and how they persevered and they made it. Now, you'll tell me this isn't pandemic. Well, at that time, as my grandmother from Crete used to say, whatever problem you're facing, it's a major problem. And she said it once when I was 12, and I said I had a headache, and my mother said, you're 12 years old, you couldn't have a headache. And my grandmother said, why not? The child has a headache. If for her, whatever she's feeling is a headache, it's a headache, and it's a major problem. The wisdom of the old. So it wasn't a pandemic, but it helped 18 colleagues feel calmer, more sure of themselves, and more rested. And I believe my 5 minutes are over. And I thank you very much. Shukran.
Afwan, brilliant. Thank you very much, Lily.
Thank you.
I love your Arabic articulation. Good for you, Lily.
If I wasn't a bit bashful, I would have gone on with more, but I decided to stop at Shukran.
No. It seems like I got one question for you here. We have an audience member.
Yes.
Teheni would like to make a comment or ask a question. Teheni, you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is supposed to unmute. Teheni? I'm just wondering because I have a raised hand. I'm not sure if this was, I'm sorry about that.
She want to type it. Would she like to type it in chat?
Yeah, okay. Maybe it happened by mistake. So I'm sorry about that. Anyway, so maybe now it's time to make our final announcements. after this wonderful keynote, and Amira has some housekeeping notes.
Yeah, I think we'll wrap today and we'll take a break.
Not today.
No, sorry, we'll wrap part 2.
Part 2.
No, it's not finished yet.
I have a break until 6. Is that so? Please
That's
go ahead. I don't want to mess it.
No. Okay, so it's like we don't want to give any.
Minnie apologized because she had some connectivity problems, and for that reason we would have to take the break earlier. Yes, am I right now? Oh, sorry.
And congratulations for all of the Learning Together. Congratulations, and continue. Go on.
Thank you. Thank you.
About this glitch. So we'll break until 6 p.m. Cairo time, 4 p.m. UTC. Start with panel 2.
Okay. TESOL Gulf. That's TESOL Gulf. And by the way, thank you very much, Sheila. I mean, I wouldn't have done that without the support of those lovely people we have seen over the past few days. Thank you very much. I owe you a lot. So enjoy a longer break. We all need it, don't we?
Absolutely.
Sheila, you need to unmute.
Yes, I'm amazed that you are still here because you basically covered the entire globe with the time differences.
Well, I missed out on New Zealand and Australia, so.
No, they missed out on you.
Well, you can't cover, the whole 24 hours. That would be a little bit too much, right?
It's a bit difficult.
I think one of the TESOLs in Latin America did it, okay, when they had to go online because of natural kind of disaster. They did that over 2 or 3 days, I think 24/7 conference, virtual. I'm not sure, but I'm sure there's like more than one person involved, so they can do that job. So enjoy the break, relax, please come back. We have 2 more panels and wonderful people coming up. TESOL Gulf, TESOL International Association.
About in an hour. It's in an hour. Huh?
Exactly, I would say yes. Exactly in an hour.
Approximately.
And no changes in terms of links. So I'm pausing everything and we'll come back using the very same link.
Okay, right.
Thank you very much. Bye for now.